That's not our vibe. Welcome to the Elemental Tea.
Hello, witches. Happy October. This is our favorite month, of course. Today, we're going to be discussing episode 7 of Hexes, Curses, and Baneful Magic, which I am so excited to talk about. So, welcome, witches. Grabbing a little bit of tea. What do we have in store today?
Mm.
Ooh, witch,
Well,
please.
I'm really excited about this topic because I don't think I'm really well educated in this, so I really hope to learn a lot. Um, I think I've accidentally cursed or hexed people unintentionally over the years. Um, I don't know much about it, but I think that I've had some influence on things without realizing it, and I think we all do. Like we all have that ability. Because I believe that words and intention is like energy. I don't know if you, is his name, I think, is Dr. Emoto, and he studies water. And when he studies like different frequencies make the crystalline structure in water have
Mhm.
certain patterns. So when he played frequencies or music or even said words that had more of like a harmonious sound to it or like a harmonious structure when you look at the wavelength, they would make perfect, almost like snowflakes in their crystalline
Wow.
structure. But whenever someone would use like a curse word or negative, like insulting or something like that, or like a very chaotic sound wave, the water couldn't create a perfect structure. It would actually be like kind of broken up and disjointed and not symmetrical. So, based on that study, they believe that words do impact people. And it makes me think about that. Like, is it because the word, because, we create words with meaning, right? But the meanings shift over time. So is it the word itself or is it the way we say the word? That's what I'm wondering. Like, because I'm thinking of frequencies, right? Is it the combination of letters that make a certain sound or is it the way we say it? Like, if we were say like F word, which I've probably said here millions of times already, but like if we said fuck like in a very pleasant way, would it still be a positive thing if we said it in a really pleasant way with good intentions versus if we said it in a very like we shout it? And so I'm wondering, like that's something I'm curious about that I probably need to read more about. So thinking of that, I wonder, or I believe, and I've heard from like different cultures and people, that intention in words really is a thing. And I believe it's comes from the fact that it has a frequency and that frequency affects the world around us, including ourselves. So to me, that's an easy way to think of hexes. Mm-hmm. Or if someone was to curse someone, and like, a curse to me would be like a frequency that lasts for a long time, and you would have to break that frequency. And maybe that frequency stuck that way because it was a pattern that was repeated over and over and over. So the frequency never changed. And until there was someone that had the realization that this pattern needs to be broken, and then they changed their mindset, then the frequency changed, and then they were able to break the curse. So this is just my own, this is just a hypothesis. I can't prove that's correct or not, but I think for me, that's how I perceive curses. And I think I've unintentionally cursed people, or sorry, maybe hex them because I was really upset and feeling really baneful and would talk bad about those people. And I would talk about them so much, especially like during high school, really bitter and like really saying my thing. And next thing you know, these people are starting to have like events all of a sudden go wrong for them. Like everything was going so right. And they
Mhm.
were making fun of me and treating my life like crap. And then I was feeling like crap, and more started happening to me until I got really angry and didn't want it to happen anymore. And I started fighting back by putting my words out. So it's almost like, am I changing my frequency by saying, fuck this? I don't want to deal with this anymore. Now I'm going to talk shit about you. I'm going to talk to your face and I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And then I'm going to take actions to change. Like instead of caring what she said, I just didn't care anymore.
Mhm.
And like I ignored it. and then just went ahead and did my own thing and didn't let what she said impact me.
Mhm.
And then I would say like my feelings about that person. And then I wonder if by default I broke the curse by changing my perception and mindset towards a situation.
Mhm.
And then she probably got the curse back to her because
Mhm.
she got ridiculed after I talked about her with other people. They talked about her. You know what I mean? It builds up. And then
Yeah.
she started to believe it and feel like
Mhm.
crap. And then it was like she reinvited all that crap back to herself. So,
Mhm.
and also I had a play in it. So that's how I think I unintentionally hexed. And I don't think it's the first time. I don't think I'm the only one who does it. I think we all do it without realizing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in recent yeah, and in recent years, I realize if I could, like, it's one thing to rant, but if I keep on talking about, oh, that person, they got it better than me, and blah 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 blah, like kind of putting them on a pedestal almost, like, oh, they think they're saying this about me, but they don't realize how they got it easier than me. That kind of rhetoric, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
But then I don't realize that I'm basically putting the
Oh,
mindset that I
Mhm.
have it less than them. I'm less than them. I shouldn't, I don't deserve. Like I'm here because I don't deserve and they deserve.
Yeah.
When that's not what I'm thinking, but I don't realize I'm making that kind of frequency for myself. So in recent years, I'm really careful.
mhm.
Like I can rant, but don't make it a rant where it's like, oh, well, look how easy it is for them, or oh, it must be nice, or that kind of thing, because then it's like implying that I don't deserve that too. So I'm trying to be careful about, and that's probably my 2 cents I'd like to give on hexes and curses. Just be careful how you word shit. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
try to remember that, you write your script, and if you're doing a curse towards someone, be careful that how you word it, if it's actually giving yourself a curse. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like giving
Yeah.
yourself, like hexing yourself if you're
Yes.
not careful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, 'cause
Completely.
it's like a cord of energy, right, that you create with that person. So like you're sending out this negative energy to them, but through that cord, there's like something that's, and we call that mal de ojo and curanderismo, where it's just like I could choose to curse this person or hex this person or talk shit, right? Like talk shit is, I think, something as simple. It doesn't have to be like this big, you know, ritual or anything like that. It could just be like, or like what you were saying, Julia, like kind of being envious or like belittling yourself in that way. It's like you create that cord between you and that person. And every time you're sending negative energy to them, you're kind of just sending it back to yourself. And so there's like this connection there between you and that person. And I do think it's energy. Like I think a lot of it is unintentional a lot of times. I think that there are people out there who probably do have ill intentions against someone. I'm sure that happens. I'm not denying that at all. Um, that happens 100%. But I think most of the time it's often really unintentional when it comes to like cursing or hexing. Like I used to tell my mom all the time, "Oh, you cursed me," because like she would be like, "Well, you better not do this because this and this and this will happen." And then like it would happen. And I'd be like, "You just cursed me." And it was like she wanted it to happen so that it could teach me a lesson and then it would happen. Other than that, it could have been women's intuition, but like I feel like for the most part, it was always like it's always unintentional. And I think that's where a lot of like the projection comes from with people, which is why people wear evil eyes, right? Like I always like fucking covered in protection anywhere I go, especially in public spaces. But it's just like it's not that I think that people are out to get me or they're trying to do awful things. It's just like people like go through their own shit, and they're going through their own things that I don't know about. And sometimes that is projected out to us. So, like you were saying, Julia, if you're like having a bad day or like you're feeling very painful, then you might say something to someone and that energy impacts you. It's like when your loved ones like being kind of snooty or like mean and you're like, what's your problem? Like, you know? So I think oftentimes it's
it's usually unintentional, and it's not really rooted in, you know, malice or hate. And I think that that is often, you know, a common misconception with most witches, because I think we're so perceived as someone who's going to just like always fucking curse you, and we're always going to do these bad things, and like, and that's just really not the case. I mean, if anything, I'm doing a transmutation spell, you know, like if you're going to send negative energy to me, it's going to go in towards my abundance, you know.
Mhm.
I'm not going to do anything back, and that's not to say that I wouldn't be above doing a curse either, because I have, and I would, and I will. But it just takes me a really long time to get there. I think curses are something that are rooted in resistance magic. That's really
Yeah.
where it comes from. You know,
Mhm.
that's when to me it's like, yes, we need curses. Yeah, right.
Mhm.
That's where it comes into the importance of protecting ourselves. It comes into spiritual hygiene, because there are people that don't like us because of how we look, or the people that we love, or you know, whatever that may be. It's like we have to protect ourselves, and that's when it's okay to curse someone, and that's when it's okay to hex someone, because you know, fuck that. Like that's a part of sovereignty work. And I think it really comes back to, you know, deciding, you know, deciphering, what is it called? The discerning,
Mhm.
discerning when it is appropriate to utilize baneful magic, because it's not always the case. It's not where I always go. But when we can understand that someone is clearly out to get us, like a life or death situation, we have to, like, you know, fight back with fire sometimes. And, you know, that's not we're not evil for that. It's not an evil thing to do that. But have I done that a lot? No, not really, because most people, nobody's thinking about me. You know what I mean? Like most people aren't thinking about you. Most people have their own problems that they're dealing with, and they have their own shadows, and we're all just trying to figure it out. And so if I can just put up protection and like, you know, their negative energy, and then also just like, you know, staying away from the people who, you know, aren't the greatest, who have low vibes or whatever, you know, that can also help us. But I think it's so complex, right? Like there's there's so much nuance to curses and hexes. It's not black and white, even though people try to make it out to be like good
Yeah.
versus bad,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
White magic
Black or white
versus black
magic or
magic. Ugh,
Yeah.
Oh, the black magic, white magic, I don't know. It's like,
racist as shit.
yeah, it is. And that's a
and
good
why is black bad?
I know. Why gotta be black?
Yeah,
Racism.
it's my favorite color, damn it.
I know. Yeah. And that's a really good point too, Veronica, about like a lot of times in the past where I have felt like, oh, did someone like, curse me or whatever, then usually I had to sit with myself and make sure if I was a problem and figure out like what
Mm.
am I actually going through? What do I need to work on to make sure that I'm not the one like causing these things in myself, and um not even in a boundary sense, but also in the sense of like what it what is it that I need to work on for myself to not feel this way, that to just assume this person is feeling this way about me. Like maybe, like you said, they're not even thinking about me, but I am thinking that maybe they are. And so I need to find out what the hell's wrong with me first before I even think about that. Because then throughout our lives, if like you said, if that was the case, it would just be like hexing all kinds of people all the time because you'd be like in battle all the time.
It's
Yeah.
exhausting.
It really, and it's confronting to sit with yourself, because you're like, oh shit, am I the problem?
No.
Right.
Yeah. I think there's just
But
a
it's
lot
always
here.
when I'm around.
Like there's so much that you all have said that I just like I just was like, oh, oh, oh. And it's like I think with the words, right? Going back to Julia, the words have power, because it's kind of like correspondences and things like that. It's like things have certain energy because we have created like these thought forms, and like with all of these people like adding to that, it just becomes like its own power, right? And it can be changed and it can be shifted, I think, you know, like as you say, like words, the meaning of words changes over time. And like one thing that I thought of while you were talking was like, and we've kind of discussed this like as a group, like about like bitch and how bitch is weaponized against women, or you know, femmes. And like God, I hated being called a bitch. And like my ex-husband used to just always, you know, like, you know, you're just being a bitch and you just want to be a bitch. And it's just like, and I'm like, no, because I'm a nice person and I'm a, you know what I mean? And I was very invested in like not being a bitch, that I was giving away a lot of my power, right? And like when you like reclaim that word, or like the word cunt, or the word fag, or the word, you know, like queer, you know, like I identify as queer, and like I would have been mortified to be called queer like in middle school, right? You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, I'm queer, fuck it.
Yeah.
It's like there's this way of like, and when other people like jump on that bandwagon, I'm like, oh yeah, it's my bitches, like yeah, we are bitches, fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm leaning into it and I'm claiming that power, and I'm like speaking my mind, and if that pisses people off, then fuck them, you know. And it's like that way, like you did it, Julia, like you took a situation and you claimed back your power, right? And you said fuck it, like she can say what she wants to about me, like, and I can say shit about her too, so fuck it, you know.
Yeah.
And then like what you were saying, Veronica, too, like about the chords, like I will always like examine the chords, right? Like why am I thinking about this person? Why do I think like this person cursed me? Especially if I am thinking like it's a real person, like a one person doing something, you know, right? Or just like basic energetic hygiene, like you were saying, like you just out in the world and people have thoughts about you because of how you look or who you're with or what you say or what kind of shirt you're wearing or whatever. And it's just like, how do I, you know, get rid of that energy? And I definitely have done you know, like curses and hexing and things like that, but I don't do it, like you said, I don't very often. Like I usually do it when I have a specific reason in mind and other things have failed, you know.
Mhm.
And after the working, I make sure like I cut those cords, because fuck it. Like, and whatever I have made goes in a trash can like far away from my property. Like I will make a trip and like go throw the shit in a trash can somewhere else. Like fuck it. Um because you can't like have that, and like you got to let it go, because otherwise that energy cord is just open, and like you can do all the cursing and binding and shit that you want to do, but like if that cord is still open, if you still have that person on your mind, or you still have like this animosity, like oh, I just know they're working against me, and you know. And I definitely have had people and things and situations like that in my life, or like I've done it on behalf of others too, you know. Like I usually do a lot of binding kinds of things versus, or like things that are like, let the like reflection kind of things, you know, like with mirrors or whatever, like let this person see what they're doing. Like, you know, a little bit of self-awareness never hurt anybody, right? But like Nishida said, I do kind of think like, how am I contributing to this? Like, is this person always on my mind for no reason? Like, why am I obsessed with this person? Or why am I, or how am I sabotaging myself? Or like Veronica, you know, I think about like, you know, when your mom like, you know, said something, and then it's almost like that pattern is laid in your head, and it's almost like you're playing it out too, right? Because you've taken that in, and it's like, how do you like say no, that's not gonna happen? I know like my mom, I always I always like call this like the Irish curse, because my mom did the thing where it was like, I hope you have children that are as awful as you are, right? And I'm just like, fuck you, I won't have kids. Like, you know? Like, right? Like, fuck you, I won't have kids then. Um, because those things are really powerful, right? And how do we take our power back? And I know like we were kind of not really sure if we were going to talk about like specific workings, but like some of my favorite things are like taking like a root vegetable, because you know I'm very earthy, right? And it's like this is going to be like a grounding, like it's going to contain you. And like for somebody who's gossiping or like saying some shit about you that's not true, or like sabotaging you at work or whatever. Like I had this person who I kind of needed them to think better of me, and they were not thinking, like they didn't really grasp like the deal, right? And they had this perception of me that wasn't true, and it was like every interaction with them was like animosity, right? No matter what I did. And like I said, I tried like the things, like all of the things I tried to say, like, no, like these are the things that I'm doing, like you think I'm not doing anything, but here's the receipts, right? And so I did like I did this like potato spell, right? And I like cut a hole in the potato, like a little chunk out of it, and I put like on the piece of paper all the things this person was saying about me. I put it in the hole, and then like I basically was kind of like, these harmful words are going to get stuck in this person's mouth, right? And anything they say about me or think about me is only going to be true things, And then I did, like a binding with thread, and got rid of it. And it was like almost immediately, it was such a change, and I don't even know like how it, how much it is actually working on the other person, or if it's just like, does it shift my own energy, right? Like,
Right.
does it make me feel like I did something to take my power back? And now like the way I think about this person is different too, right? So it works on both people whenever you do a working, whether it's a baneful working or a good working, right? Like it's always gonna. And I think like the way that it's talked about a lot on social media really kind of bugs me. And I'm not Wiccan, so I don't believe in the law of three, but I don't like how it's like, oh my God, you can't do anything baneful because it'll just ruin your life, or it'll like reflect back on you and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, the way they frame it is almost like you're going to get punished for it.
Yeah.
And I hate that, because it's like,
Christian
I believe like that kind of thinking belongs in like, Abrahamic religion kind of bullshit. Like, and that's not me. Like I wasn't raised in that stuff, so I just really don't believe, personally, I don't believe in a world that wants to punish me. So like, that's just where it comes down to. We do need to protect ourselves. We do need to like, there's nothing wrong with trying to empower yourself or better your life, or, smear somebody's picture with chicken shit and then put a mirror on top of it in a jar somewhere, so that
That was my favorite thing. Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, look at your actions, look at what a chicken shit you are. I love it. I love having chickens because I have all kinds of cool things to use in hexes and curses. But I mean, it just really makes you feel like, fuck it, I did something and now I can just like let it go and go live my life and not worry about this, and I think that that's an important piece of it. But you have to really like be invested in it. And so sometimes like, I can't, like you were saying, Julia, like I don't do this shit lightly. Like I have to be very pissed off. Like I have to be pissed, and I have to be at my wit's end, and I have to have like exhausted all the other options, because like otherwise it's just like, meh, okay, do the work, like I'm not as invested in it, so I definitely believe that these can be very powerful things, and I believe they're very necessary. But yeah, I don't think like, for me, it's a first line of defense, right? Like I'm like Veronica, like you were saying, like I'm like, what can I do to shield myself from this? How, like, where are these cords at? Like I should not have cords to other people. I'm a grown-ass adult, right? I don't need energetic cords. I don't need to feed off of somebody, and they don't need to feed off of me. So yeah, I do all those kinds of basic like things, right? And like for me, I do use like smoke, like herb bundles, to like kind of cleanse. But most of the time I'm just kind of using like energy, like I'm just using my hands, or using like, if I have like a knife or something like that, to kind of, and then sealing up, where that cord was at, I put my hand over it, or like I'll anoint with an oil, like a protective oil or something like that. And I think those things are important too. And it's not because, oh, I'm going to get punished, but like you were saying, Veronica, it's like if you're leaving that cord open, it's gonna, like you're still like sending that energy back and forth, whether that person's even aware of it or not. Like it's still there, right?
And I think that's why Baneful Magic doesn't often work for most people. And that's not to say like I'm above anybody. I feel like I'm a constant journey of learning, but like more so like I feel like hexes are always kind of like what the first thing that most maybe newer to the path kind of go with because they're like, this bitch is talking shit. Let me go towards the hex. And it's just that they're not like it's like you said, you want to close up that cord. Like what are the things that you're doing for the aftercare for that? Because and then maybe that's what's adding to the negativity in your life. But also it's like you're not doing I know like it's super controversial, but you're not doing the shadow work. That term's very controversial now, but like you're not looking inward to see, what can you change about yourself? Is there something that, maybe you're misconstruing? Because like I feel like oftentimes the people that hurt me the most are also the people that I love the most, and they love me the most. And maybe we're hurting each other more so because that love is so deep. And I'm like, I love this person. That's why I'm so mad at them right now.
Right.
You
Because
know?
otherwise I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and I know it sounds corny as hell, but I'm like, I love this person. God damn it. That's why. And then,
Right.
you just kind of move past it and you're like, okay, I know what I need to do, rather than just being like, this bitch, the nastiest bitch. But,
Yeah, that's so true. And I like, so I'm very similar to you guys too, where I have for sure unintentionally, like you said, Julia, with just the energy and just thoughts, and there was a time in middle school where I did the whole like, I'm gonna do this actual spell and fuck this person for hurting my friends, and they made them feel really bad and they were bullying them, and I did a binding thing with something of theirs, like using taglines and stuff like that. And the next day the person wasn't at school and they had got injured. And
Damn.
eventually the things like that they were doing to my friends, they started like kind of putting it on themselves. And then eventually we all became good friends. And yeah, so I was like, oh my gosh, like I need to be a lot more careful than just like I'm just doing a spell in middle school in my room. And so from then I really don't do that much. And I've shared with you all before, like I've worked with a shaman, and she had mentioned like in this lifetime, that's like my lesson to like try not to do that. So I'm like, it's so tempting though sometimes to not. So doing things that are more, even though like it sounds all love and light, like truth telling or things like that, that in a sense to me is like baneful magic. You're still forcing something out of somebody that they probably wouldn't agree to want to do. And so there's like this fine line of that kind of stuff. But I definitely know what to do. and, and there's so many things with like spicy stuff and all these all these different ways. But yeah, I don't remember where I was about to go with all this, but just the intentional versus the unintentional, and the looking at what you really want to do, like you said, Veronica, with the shadow work and everything. I know, I agree. It is such a weird term now, but I mean, there's so much that goes in to doing anything in this realm of work that you have to like be willing to see the outcome of it, and be okay with that. And like you said, May, too, like the threefold, or getting that back. Like I'm not Wiccan either, and there's other uh practices that have like similar like karmic things, but to me I feel like when I go to do something in like that realm, I will like to kind of call on help, like my ancestors or guides, because I feel like they can see a little bit more than I can, and they can help me, and I'll do like divination first and kind of see like where I need to go or what thing I need to do. But that's always helpful for me because sometimes even that alone will be the thing to be like, nah, bitch, like you need to sit with yourself for a little bit before you even think of this thing. So it's a very similar like last resort or something I wouldn't like just immediately jump to, but even that part of doing that divination or something beforehand still kind of sets the tone of the energy about. So then I still, even if I just do that, I still will try to do like a closing or a cutting of some sort as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that shadow work is really important, you know, and yeah, I agree. Like the term I feel like is overused and it's misused, and people like, I think, dwell on it a lot. But that being said, like we all have the shadow, right? And like I have noticed in myself as I have gotten older that the things that piss me off the most about other people are the things that piss me off about myself. So it's like that goes back to like, okay, so who's the problem here? You know, is it me? Or is it
Seeing your
you know,
reflection,
is it
right?
them or is it me? Like, is it really me? Like, you know, like I think about some people in my life that have made me very angry or whatever, and then it's like, dude, it's kind of like the Buddhist parable, right? Of anger is like a hot coal, right? As you hold on to it, like it's only hurting you. And I think like, am I holding this hot coal and they're oblivious? They don't even know. Like they're not even thinking of me. Like you were saying, Veronica, like they're living their best life and not even thinking about me. So is it all about me? Like, am I bringing all this shit on myself? Like, and I'm thinking it's a hex, or I'm thinking it's, you know, like something bad being worked against me, and I'm trying to think about doing reversal magic, but it's like, oh, maybe I'm the problem, right? Like maybe I'm the one that's, you know, sabotaging myself. Maybe I'm the one that's not following through. Maybe I'm the one that's not, you know, being honest with myself about the choices I'm making and things like that. And so I do think like those things are kind of important, you know, because if you look about, if you're feeling really strong feelings about somebody being a certain kind of way, like you kind of have to think about like, do I do that? You know, too, like, and that's why I hate it. Like, I think we were talking about gossip, right? And like, I love the chisme, like I love gossip, I love, you know, like I love it, I love it, but like I don't want to be a part of it, I don't want to be in it, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, but like, so like if I hear somebody else gossiping like about somebody I love or about me or whatever, right? Like, I'm just kind of like, oh shit, that's me though. I'm the mean girl. Like, I'm the one that wearing
Right.
pink on Wednesday. Like, you know, and I have to like be honest about that, you know, and I always like kind of joke, you know, like, oh, it's my toxic trait that I love to gossip and I love, you know, talking shit. Like, I'm the biggest shit talker. I'm all talk and no action, right? But it's like, I have to be careful about that, right? Because it's like by doing that, I'm kind of giving people permission to do that about me. Do you know what I'm saying? And none of us are perfect, right? None of us, well, we all do these things. Like that's the
Right.
shadow, right? Like we all have it. And so, yeah, it's kind of like, are they wishing ill against me, or am I spending all the time wishing ill against them? Right. And like, and then I'm feeling some kind of way about it because I'm not being honest with myself about what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like y'all have really helped me in the gossip space because I have a lot of trauma around it. It's a long story, but there was a very long time where I was just like against gossiping. And I feel like this podcast and just your friendships have all helped me. And I found out that it actually helps women lower cortisol when they talk shit. So it's actually healthy for us. But I think the type of gossip that I like is when we're kind of collectively coming together and we're like, hey, this person is not a good person. And this person has hurt several people, and we all know who that is for us. But, you know, I think that's where it kind of made it okay for us because, you know, when there's people doing harm, gossip can be a positive thing. Like it spreads awareness, it spreads messages. We can warn other people. We can say, hey, this is my experience. yes, it's technically gossip, but it's also for the good, like we're protecting people, right? Shias. But
Mhm.
also, um, one thing that my friend Meredith says, so she's listening to this. Hey, Meredith. She's a Libra. She's very gossipy. She does not give a shit. But she always told me, like, it's not gossip if it's something that you would say to their face. And I was like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
oof.
Yes, I've
So I
heard
was
that
like,
too.
yes, you know what? That's right. And so that's one of the things that I promised myself is like, if I talk shit, it's because I would actually say it to their face. And that always makes me feel a lot better at the end of the day. But it's true though, like if I would say it to, the person's face, and that goes to say with like, if I ever heard somebody talking shit about one of my friends, I would stick up for them.
Mhm.
Like don't fucking
Yeah.
talk about them. But like, yeah, I think it can be a really positive thing. And it's how in many ways, like, cultures were saved because women were able to like spread information. We hold the secrets of the land. So I think it can be a positive thing. It doesn't have to be necessarily negative. And it's just like Baneful Magic, where it can also be very positive if somebody's talking shit about you and, cursing on your legacy or like and especially in a professional sense, like I'm not gonna like wish ill will on you, but I'm gonna make you shut your mouth and only let you speak the truth. And then people will really truly see who you are because you're blinding them, but I see through your shit. And I'm gonna show people
Right.
that.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't know. And I do think words also, like you were saying, Julia, have a lot of power in that as well. There's a lot of reclamation in it, and it's energy, like it's frequency, it's sound, and um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think like
I
there's
was gonna
something to be said for like, it seems like gossip, but it's like you're processing, right? Like, especially like, in the situation you were talking about where we did have like this shared trauma around this person, like there was a time I think when each of us felt like, is it just me? Like, am I the only one that feels this way about this person? And then
Mhm.
sometimes you're also like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Am I,
Mhm.
like, because you feel like sometimes when people are really manipulative or like, the kind of people that put on a good face for everybody, but then behind closed doors, or like when it's like more of a private setting, like are really terrible to you, and then you feel like I'm the problem because this person's so nice to everybody else, right? Or they're so helpful or they're so caring. And so I think sometimes it can help to like share that, like, baneful words or these gossip or this, like I feel this sort of way about this person. And like, I don't know, in my case, like I got so fucking angry, right? But like, and I felt like I'm a bad person because like I feel so angry about this person and everybody else seems okay. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but
but then
like,
it was validating when you spoke up, and
right.
then the rest of us were just like, yeah, fuck
Yeah, she
Yes.
sucks.
No, and
I'm
it
glad
was so
someone said.
helpful because yeah, because I felt like I'm going crazy and I'm going, like I'm misinterpreting this, or maybe it's me like being too sensitive or like
Mhm.
so yeah, I mean, I agree, like there's something to be said for using our words in this sort of way, right? Like, and to just be like,
yeah.
can you believe this bitch? Like, am I seeing what I'm seeing? Like, did she really do that? Did she say that? Did he do that? Did they act that way? Like,
Yeah.
that.
and I think like also like not only with manipulative people, but I think like it helps too with like areas where people are being like doing microaggressions, right? Because you're like,
Mhm.
if you're not the person who's the target of that microaggression, you may not see it. But like if you are the person and you're like, hey, actually, this is how I feel when they say that. Like it's not as, you know, um innocuous as it sounds or whatever. Or it's not as nice as it sounds. And it's like, I don't know. I just think that there's so much power in words. Like you can do this, coming back to like spells and stuff, is like you can do a very powerful spell just with your words,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Like, so I think it is something that, although I do like the gossip and I do have ADHD, so sometimes my filter doesn't work so well. But like I'm really trying like Julia, like you were saying it in the beginning, it's like I'm really trying to like be careful with my words, you know, like am I creating a situation for myself or some beliefs for myself that maybe aren't rooted in reality by the way I'm talking and thinking, you know? And so it's like you're almost doing a self hex, right? When you're doing that sort of thing,
Yeah.
right? Like you're cursing yourself, you're changing your life in a negative way because you're telling yourself these stories. And it's like, and even if there is some truth to it, it's like, okay, but like, do I need to live in that space or can I find a way to move past it and move on and get out of it? Right.
Yeah.
So.
I really wanted to speak to that because I think there's a difference with venting, like talking shit. Like I think it's healthy personally because we're dealing with a bunch of shit all the time, like all this stuff coming at us, all this energy, and I think it's kind of a part of cleansing work in a way. Like I'm getting rid of it. I'm pulling it out of my body. I had all these thoughts. I'm pulling it all out now. And I'm just presenting it to people that I feel safe with that will take this information in a responsible manner and not just go and like say what I said, but manipulate the information. That's where it's dangerous, in my opinion. Who are people you can trust that you can talk to? That it's like more of a catharsis than like a rage fest. Well, rage fest is cathartic, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
I think it's intention. I think it all comes down to intention, right? Like, I think if you saw someone, and this is where I think it can get toxic and it kind of can get like the person that we were talking shit about. It's like, this person makes me feel jealous, or I feel like they're stealing my thunder. So I'm gonna twist the story and change it and even lie and give this information to a bunch of people that I know will spread it and even manipulate themselves in a very unresponsible manner. And then they're gonna, telephone that old game where it keeps being passed on and the information gets changed. That's a very different thing. This is warfare. This is what I would call hexing. And that's a form of hexing, in my opinion. It's like purposefully, you know who to talk to, you know who's going to pass that information and skew it and like get in on that energy and like and trash that person. And that could be really harmful to the person that you're sending that out to. And also it can harm all the people involved that are passing down this information, right? Like, so like for me, I would say my magic, like the magic I work with, is very mental, and it involves like the one word I could say that is like my working, and I guess you can use this in Baneful Magick, is reciprocity. Because I feel like in nature we like to focus on bad and good, dark and light, but really what is it all? Like, is it just interpretations? Because at the end of the day, is an animal bad for eating another animal? Is an animal bad for defending itself or defending its baby from something that tried to eat the baby? Is the hurricane bad for killing all these people? Like, you know what I mean? It's just, are we bad humans for creating medicines that like kill the viruses that are feeding off our bodies? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many, like, why are we better than the virus? Right? Like, I don't know. It's just like Aquarius moon brain here, like going down the rabbit hole. But I just always see it as like, it could be a bad thing, but you're doing it for the right reason. That's kind of how I like to think about it. And it's like calculating, it's calculations. And May, you said something that really just like, I felt like you emulated exactly how I feel. And it's like, if you do something, now how did you say this? If I can remember how you said it, I think you said, like, to be careful about what you put out in the world. And like, if you work on yourself and you're in a good place with yourself, like that's kind of a working on its own. And I believe this so much because, when we think of baneful magic, we automatically, how can I hurt that person? But what if your baneful magic is, how can I make myself better? That's a big fuck you to that person that tried to take me down. Like, how can I uplift myself and claim my power and be like, I don't give a fuck what you have to say because you don't mean anything to me. Like, you didn't invest in my time or my well-being, so why the fuck should I care what you have to say? Like, to me, you're dust. So that's going to be my baneful magic to you. Like, here's my reciprocity. You gave me shit. There you go. I give you
Right.
back shit.
You get the shit back.
So like, yeah. So I've always used my anger towards self-betterment because there's nothing more satisfying to me than doing really well and looking at those people that were making fun of me for being weird or different, be doing the same damn shit every day. And sometimes I'm like, gosh, you got to be bored
Mhm.
or really miserable with your life that you're so focused on tearing everyone around you down
Yeah.
when you could just, and you know what? They're probably cursing themselves, to be honest,
Yeah.
when they're focusing on like, oh, this person's like this. Oh, look at her getting all this stuff. Well, fuck her. It's like, guess what? You're telling your environment, yourself that you're not worth anything over and over and over. And you're bringing back that shit in your life. Now, that being said, if someone's hurting you or really causing you shit, that's, whether it's like financially or, like in abuse way or, manipulate, like I think manipulation is one of the worst form of bane magic ever. Like talking to people in a way that manipulates them and makes them feel like they're less than, like narcissists are like probably the king of that. And I think, oh, I just lost my track. Look at that. What was I saying? I was saying like, um, oh yeah, okay. So when you're in a situation where you have these really bad things happen, sometimes you just got to be a bad bitch and do the hex and fucking curse their ass because you need to protect yourself. Like you're never going to blame a rat for biting the person that was stupid enough to go poking in its nest, like that's just the way I see it. And I don't think it's a good or bad thing. It's like faux all the way, fafo all the way, it's like
Yeah.
fuck around and find out. And so I just think, risk and reward, you know? So yes, all about the shadow work and all that too. Sorry?
Oh no, I was gonna say that's a good point because like we have alarm systems. If someone broke into our house, we'd be ready to fight, and defend or whatever. We have wards, we have talismans, all kinds of stuff that we do to protect ourselves. So when someone crosses that threshold in a spiritual sense, why can't we defend ourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
brings me to the biggest lesson that my sister has ever taught me is you need to learn how to teach a bitch, It's just like you gotta learn, you gotta be able to defend yourself and fight
Yeah.
back, and that's not ever been something that I've been good at, but like I think it is important to know what is your threshold. And for me, it's just like my ultimate baneful type of magic is I do the Capricorn coldness. I'm like, you don't exist to me. And then I move on. I move the
Yeah.
fuck on. And a lot of that is because I will say, like, it's not because of some Wiccan bullshit or anything like that. I think it's Capricorn, any Saturn ruled person, if you have a lot of Saturn in your chart, Capricorn, Aquarius, whatever, uh, that's the planet of karma. And so, like, for me, it's like when I've done shit to other people, I have seen those repercussions. And it could just be all in my head. It could be telling myself that I could have created that curse. But it's just like, I know for me, like, oftentimes I don't do it because I know that I'm going to see something come back because it's always like a lesson, right? There's always a lesson embedded there. And it always comes back to why am I letting this person take over my life when I can just walk away? And then when I walk away, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have any problems anymore. I just had to like cut them out. And sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to work with these people and you have to like see these people. Then that's when it's like, okay, I'm going to do some baneful magic. This is going to like Voldemort me in some way and like steal from me in some way, but it might be worth it, because we have to learn how to fight back. We have to learn how to fight fire with fire. And you're not a bad person if that is the path that you choose. There's no such thing as good versus evil in justice, right? Like justice is about fighting with fire. And sometimes, right, sometimes it's, you have to get the sword out. Sometimes you have to take the fist. Like this is also something that we've talked about before where I'm like, sometimes you gotta fight like an actual person. Like if you're thinking about a bully who keeps picking on you and keeps fucking with you,
it gets to a point where you're gonna have to hit back. Like, I'm not pro violence, but let's just like, you have to learn how to teach a bitch, as my sister would wisely say, you know?
Yeah.
But I also feel like there are also parts of me where, my curandera side, which is just very like ancestral, higher mind, very like up there, spacey, would also say like anytime I would do a curse, like in curanderismo, it's just like you are cursing yourself. Like it's a mal de ojo, it's something that you hold in your chest and it slowly kind of wears on you. And this can happen in any way. It can be as innocent as feeling envy towards someone or, projecting upon someone. It's like, and I always just come back to like that ancient wisdom of like, okay, I'm not above this, but I'm above having to resort to these things because I'm not in a life or death situation. This person is probably going through something that I don't even know what's going on. I probably don't have the full story. It goes back to that idea of reciprocity that Julia was mentioning, where it was just like, we're all connected, right? We're all
Yeah.
kind of one in a way. And there's just no point in getting there and going there. If I can control this and come back more to like, how can I work on myself and make a lesson out of it and, walk away, then both parties are better. And that's kind of what I did when I had an issue with an ex-friend. I had to like walk away. But I am positive that they're probably better off as I am better off because we're not trying to play like good versus evil or like be enemies, because it's just like, what's the fucking point? It's just a rat race at the end of the day. Like, peace is so much more better than having to just stress out constantly and think about this person and obsess about this person. And, everyone deserves peace at the end of the day because we all go through our own demons and fight our own demons, and life is hard. And why make it harder?
Right. And it is exhausting, I think, too, to like constantly be thinking like the world is against you, or these people are against you, or the thing is against you. And like, I feel like, not to like do victim blaming or whatever, because sometimes we really are victimized, right? But are we always victimized? And do you want to stay in that victim mindset that like, oh, bad things are happening to me because somebody is working against me? Like, I'm not that person. Like, I'm not that person, And like, usually, like you were saying, Veronica, like if I do something against somebody, it is like because I have done everything else and I'm at my wit's end and it has to stop.
Yeah.
Like, and I know they're doing something. And a lot of times it's not even like bad magic. It's more like I see your behavior and you're not stopping your behavior. And it's like behavior that other people can witness, like it's not a boogeyman, right? Like it's not, right? And I am not a very confrontational person. I'm very Portland passive aggressive. But like that being said, like you were saying, like if I can't say it to your face, like I don't, you know what I mean? Like, and I know sometimes, and when you were saying that, it made me think too, like, sometimes like there's no point.
Yeah.
Like you could confront the person and they would just be stuck in their righteousness and they would just double down and they would just make excuses or whatever, talk about how they were justified in doing what they did. And like it's things like those are the kinds of situations. And when it's something that is very like it's literally harming me, right? Like it's something that is literally harming somebody else that I can see that I know is true, because like you said, I mean, like we're all going through shit and we all have our bad days. And it's like, and sometimes it's like, I know for me, like I've had people say like, oh, when I first met you, you seem like such a bitch. And it's like, no, I have like social anxiety and I have resting bitch face. And so like, or I'm lost in thought. Like I'm not even thinking about you. And you think like I'm angry at you, or you think I'm like being bitchy or whatever. And it's just like, no, I'm just fucking awkward. Like, right. And so, you're out here thinking I hate you. And it's like, oh no, like maybe I think you're cool and I want to talk to you. Like we don't know what the fuck people are going through. Right. Especially if they're not like somebody who's close to us, or sometimes even when they are.
Yeah.
You know, people don't always feel comfortable talking about their things that they're going through. Sometimes people feel ashamed about the things that they're going through,
Mhm.
or they
Yeah,
feel
that's
like
true. Mhm.
they're questioning their own reality. I know that's my thing. I question my own reality a lot. You know, just because of past trauma in my life where I was really made to think like what's happening is not happening, right? Gaslighting all the way.
Gaslighting. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's like, and I can see like this pattern in my life where that has been a thing. And I almost feel like, you know, that situation that we all went through together really crystallized it for me, right? Like it really made me see like, this is a pattern for me. This is a pattern. Why is this a pattern? It doesn't really matter why, I guess, but like, what can I do to change it?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so that is a case where I did a little bit of both. Like I made sure like I cut the cord, I put the person in a jar, I put them away from me, you know. And I did the work on myself. Like, okay, how do I heal from this? How do I change this pattern in myself? How do I believe the signals that my mind and body and emotions are giving me, right? Like about a situation. How do I trust my gut? You know, like how do I show that person inside of me that they're like I listen to them, right? Like, you know, like whether I think of them as an inner child or a part or whatever, however you think of it, like you have that person inside of you. And what are you doing to yourself when you're not honoring what that part of you is trying to tell you,
Mhm.
you know? And so that's where like, yeah, I mean, like I did a little bit of both, right? I did it like I did kind of all of it, right? Like, because again, like sometimes I really think spells are more about me, right? Like
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
me going,
Yes.
I have some control, because at the end of the day, who do you have control over? You only have control over yourself,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? And so
Yes.
So
no
true.
matter what I'm thinking about this other person, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, like it makes me feel like I've had some control and I've taken some
Mhm.
action and I've done something about the situation. And
Mhm.
me being like very earthy, I like tangible things, right? Like I like a poppet, I like a jar, I like, you know, whatever. So
Yeah.
a piece of paper and some string or whatever it is, right? Like I like to do these things, and whether that's baneful or, you know, good magic, right? Like it's like, you know, when I was worried about getting a job, it was like I lit a candle for victory because I'm like, okay, like this makes me feel good to see this. It's like, okay, I'm going to get this. You know,
Mhm.
it changes the way I think about it, whether or not it's working on the universe in a bigger way, which I do believe it does, right? But at the end of the day, what does it matter, right? Like, really, like if it makes me feel like I'm empowered, it makes me change the way I think about the situation. It makes me think like I've done something within my power to change whatever is going on,
Mm.
you know. And then I do my best to let it go, whether it's good or bad, because you can't control the world. And it's exhausting to feel like you can control the world. And it's
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
for me, like with anxiety, right? Like it's almost like it makes you more anxious,
Mhm.
whether it's good or
Yeah.
bad, right? Like, cause you're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I can't do this. I can't do that. So it's like, if all I do is light a candle to like quiet that part of my mind up, right? And say, here's a job for
Yeah.
you. You can think about success, you
Yeah.
know, or you don't have to worry about this because I put that bitch in a jar and threw her in the
Yeah.
garbage, you know. So
Mhm.
I
And
like what
that's what I
you.
love. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say like, and this is what I love about what you're saying, because I really think life is like homeopathy, where likeness attracts likeness. And that's what I love about witchcraft, because it's like using homeopathy on your life in a way, or like homeopathy for your energies, right? So you do this spell is what helps you. Now, this is just my interpretation, but it helps you create that shift in your mind and change the energetic resonance around you, right? And that's why I love reciprocity, because it's playing on the idea of relationships and the relationships around you, and like how is your energy, what's the energy around you, and the energy around you, or the energy that you are, is going to impact the energy outside of you and outside of you, and like further and further and further. And I think that's what I was trying to get to before, and I lost how to say it because like autism. But it was when you said that you put the person in the jar and you threw it out, and you're like, maybe that didn't actually impact the person. Maybe the spell was impacting me in a positive light for me. And when I say positive, is it's a way that's agreeable for your situation. So I think that's kind of like homeopathy in a sense. It's like, okay, by doing this, it's helping me kind of disassociate from this person and let that go. It's like a physical way for me to understand that concept and be able to set forth that way of thinking and change like the energetic frequency of the way I perceive the situation. Like it's not even a situation to perceive anymore. You've like eliminated it.
It's gone.
So I think of energy that way. Like I think that's how I think of magic is it's energy. And how do you, like, I mean, when you think of the word witch, I think I heard somewhere is it's weird. And I heard that weird is about bending things. And I can't remember where I saw that etymology, but, and I love that idea of like bending energy. And I think that's what it's about. It's having awareness of that. Like to me, that's what witch means. And it took me a long time to be comfortable with that word. But now for me, I had to reclaim it for myself. And what does that mean for me? And for me, it means like playing on that, like playing with the awareness of everything around me. Because self-awareness for me is the awareness that I'm part of everything anyways. And so how like I'm feeling is how I'm going to create the landscape around me, right? Like what my energy frequency is what the landscape of my life is going to be. So if I'm in a shit place and the more I dwell on that shit place, the more that reality will occur. And I've been through it. Like I've been through working 3 jobs and going to university and always starving and had to pick between a book and food and and it was just like and losing jobs and getting robbed and it was just like always like, oh, why the fuck does everything happen to me? And it just kept getting worse and worse. And it was only one day when I broke down on the floor in an art studio at school because I had no home for me to finally let go and be like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care. I'm just not going to let it get to me anymore. And I'm just going to live. And then as soon as I did that, no, it was like the day of, I remember I woke up, I was like, fuck it. You know, it is what it is. I'm just going to like live. I'm not going to dwell on the shit and it'll work out. It'll just work out. And I just let it all go. And that day I got a phone call for a job,
Nice.
a really good job and I was like, what the fuck? And then it was just like, and then one after the other things changed and I ended up moving across country and it's just so crazy. And I'm not saying, oh, if you change your perspective, everything's going to change. Like,
Right.
fuck, if you live in a war-ridden country, it's kind of hard. Like, you got to be realistic, right? But it's like, I really do think though, like what your energetic, like what the stories that you play in your mind impacts your life. And it's almost like I like to think of it as like this is why I love reading fiction. It's like a world building. Like how can you build your world, right? Like how can you like be the author of your life and like write in the most like beautiful details of it and live it through. And so I'm really getting into that now. And I just found, and like I went from homelessness, like growing up in poverty to living in like in a better place now. So, and I'm not saying, oh yeah, that's how it works. Like, and it didn't happen overnight, by the way. It's like many, many years.
Yeah. And it
But,
wasn't like you didn't put in the work, right? Too. Like,
no, you have to put in the work. That's the thing. You can't just think it and like, oh, it's all going to happen here. Light up my candles and manifest. Like, I hate that. Like, it drives me nuts. Cause like, sometimes I feel like people ruin shit for me. Like shadow work, abundance magic, like manifestation. Like, God damn it. Like, I love those words and you fucked it up for me.
Social media. Yeah.
You just like fucking simplified it too much. You made it too like
Capitalized it.
generalized.
yes,
and
you made it. Yes.
yeah, you made it in a pretty package because it ain't pretty. It's ugly and it's fucked up and it's
You said a lot
it's not easy.
things, Julia, that I'm like, oh, is this why? Like, because if we think about magic, it is energy manipulation, regardless if it's a hex or a curse or whatever. It exists in such a liminal space, in such a neutral way that it's like, why is a curse or a hex seen as different rather than a regular spell that you're doing to like better your life? So I really liked how you kind of put that because I think it really just proves that like hexes and curses and baneful magic, yes, they kind of exist in their own realm, but it's still just like energy manipulation. Like I would if I were doing an abundance spell, you know, like for prosperity or whatever. I'm still manipulating the energy. And does that make me a bad person for wanting to better my life? No, not at all. You know, and am I a bad person for doing a curse to someone because they suck and they need to be that, you know, I always think of like my 18-year-old self doing a curse against an ex who was just like super abusive and not a good person. But I was like Lilo and Stitch because it was like a jar curse.
Yes.
And I put them in water and I was like, my friends are bad. And it's just funny to think about, but I liked what both you and May said of just like it's almost like a switch, like the spell is a switch. Because for me, like you said, May, you do a lot of earth magic. It's me, it's always fire. I'm like, I burn bridges. Like I don't want that cord, get that shit out of my life. And
Right.
so I think it comes back to like protection work, which is why it's so important for witches because we do the release work so that we don't have to do the curse later. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're preparing for the worst. We're like, let's just release this shit that's collecting in my body, whether that's like a verbal spell, a candle spell, movement, whatever, however you do that, it's a form of release. So I'm letting those emotions go through me, the gossip, right? And it's working through me and I'm releasing it so that it's no longer a part of me and I can move on with my life and I can better myself and I can use my energy towards, you know, moving across the country or getting a job or, you know, there's just so many things that we can use our energy towards for more positive things. But it doesn't make baneful magic less than because it's all just energy manipulation at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
And that's why I don't think of it negatively.
Mm-hmm.
A
Yeah.
lot of things
And you know,
too.
like,
Oh, go ahead, Julia.
no, you go. I was like yabbing on forever. I can wait.
No, I was
You
just gonna
go.
say a lot of things that are like put into those categories of like good or bad or black or white magic or whatever. A lot of that was like imposed on a lot of cultures, like hoodoo, you know, like practices, not like religious, but like the practices of hoodoo or voodoo or santeria or anything like that. A lot of it is like cultures coming over, being brought over, stolen, or whatever in that place, not being allowed to do their own practices and their own things. And then they're being pushed on by religion and now have to talk about saints. So now we have our orishas and the loas and things like that. And we got to do our own thing to be able to keep our own practices alive and secretly get them out and share them. And this is a practice that you have to be initiated in and things like that. There's all these roots and steps that have happened to get to that spot. So if now there's this culture that was oppressed and had to hide things is starting to be strong, then the one that was like oppressing them now is like, that's bad, that's black, that's evil, that's whatever. Yeah. So it's automatically put in this category. And then now you have all these people who think that puppets and voodoo dolls or things like that are evil when they could be used for medicinal purposes or things like that. And it's just so weird to see all of the different like reasons why people can justify certain things to be good or bad or black or white or anything like that.
That's how it is in Mexico, where it's like if you were a curandera, I mean, there are a lot of nuances there. And curanderas are seen more as like shamans, whereas brujas are seen as evil and like la 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 la. And I'm like, no, come on, y'all. Like brujas just aren't afraid to like work with all of the spectrums of magic. And I think curanderas, you know, there is a little bit of a stigma there. That I even see within the culture where it's like they're so embedded in doing more of the healing work, which is really beautiful. And I love it, but I do feel like there, even within the culture, there's a lot of stigma against brujas because they're like, well, we cure what brujas do. And it's just like brujas help heal too. Like they do a lot of really healing, beautiful spells. Yes, is it more goetic? Yes, is a little bit more left-handed path. Yeah, but like they still bring a lot of healing. They're just not afraid to fucking hex a bitch. Like that's really the difference. And it's just so frustrating to see how, there's just so much fear because even growing up, like I just remember my mom always telling like spooky stories because we all love spooky stories, but there were always a lot of stories around brujas and how evil they were. And I even had this dream, y'all, when I was like in the fifth or sixth grade, where I was on a country road with my parents and then it was just in the middle of nowhere. And then this witch like cuts us off on her broom and is flying in front of us. And all of us were really scared. And then she just made a right and then took off. And then I like woke up and I was like, oh my God, I had a dream about a bruja. And I was like so scared. And now I look back on that dream and I was like, oh, I was looking at myself. Like that's me going off in my own path. And
Aw.
yeah, so like it's different how you interpret it now. But I mean, I just remember even in my own family of like, yeah, we don't do that. But then my mom would be like, I used to check out occult books and like read about spells and it's really cool. And then when I told her I was a witch, she was like, I think I'm a witch too. And I was like, yeah. I was like, it's not a bad thing. A
Yeah.
lot of it is rooted in our ancestral practices that were demonized by Abrahamic religions.
Mhm.
And, I learned a lot of stuff about my ancestors kind of fighting back in their own ways where like, Mary Magdalene, as an example, or, what's her name? The Virgin of Guadalupe was actually an Aztec goddess, but the Catholics let, the indigenous people worship her because they were like, oh, it's the Virgin of Guadalupe. It's from Catholicism. So she's just y'all's version. But like secretly, they were like still worshiping the Aztec goddess. And I'm just like, that's so badass. Like there were ways that they found to sort of preserve those practices in their own way. And maybe it was a little bit of syncretism there, but it's still cool to see how you know the oppressed survived. The oppressed fought back in their own ways, even if it was just small, and even if they had to change it, like there were still ways of getting to worship, these goddesses that they just kind of plagued as evil and
Mhm.
not good and
Right. Like Santa Muerte and
yeah, Santa Muerte is a
like
huge one.
just for drug lords, you know?
She's for the drug lords. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
come on,
Like,
guys.
please. Yeah.
And I think all that, like what's good and what's bad, is purposely created. Like you notice, like everything that's bad just so happens to be people with a certain skin tone and a certain culture and a certain this and that, and something that's not like, or a classist thing. Like if you're not of a certain class and stature, like it's
Yeah.
obviously, you know, I feel like folk magic, witchcraft, whatever, anything like that. That is like the power of the people to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
because you don't need anything outside of yourself.
I
You
think one
just
of the
need you.
reasons why it's so like looked at upon as like dangerous or bad or whatever is because you do have to lower your energy to get in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's where it kind of takes from you a little bit. And I just think that some people can't handle it. Like I think that's a lot of what
Yeah.
it is. It comes down to just people not understanding how to pick themselves back up.
Mm-hmm.
And because you do have
Yeah.
to
And
get
then maybe that's what it is, right? Like,
yeah.
because maybe you're not lowering your energy. You're understanding that you're working with something that maybe has like a certain energetic presence and not letting that influence you.
Influence you. Yeah.
Right. So,
Hmm.
like, just like you can be around people that are toxic. And if you're someone who's easily influenced, it can be harmful towards yourself.
Yeah.
Like just like people, if you like, I've come from a life of eating disorders in the past. If I, back in the past, if I was around a certain kind of language or behavior, it would trigger that. So I think it's very similar. So I could be wrong. Like, look, I'm not like I said, this is an area where I really like to research more on. So I cannot talk for people who do this kind of work, and like, and of the many different practices you both, Veronica and me and Nishida had mentioned. But just from like looking on the outside, I think, I don't know if they're lowering themselves, in my opinion. I just think they're able to see it, they're able to look at it as what it is, but it's not me. And
Mhm.
I'm working with this to bring forth a certain result. And I could be wrong, I don't know, but I just feel like maybe that's why it doesn't impact them. And maybe if it did impact someone, it's
Mm.
maybe because they are, or maybe it does impact you, but then they have to do the work to stabilize themselves. I don't
Mm.
know. Like, I wonder, because if it does impact you, you wouldn't be able to do it for very, very long. So for these people who do it for a long time, I'm guessing it's either they stabilize themselves or they're able to like have like a shielding to be able to keep themselves in a good resonance. I don't know. Is that, do you think that's correct? I'm just speculating here. I'm not,
Yeah,
I
I mean, I
can't.
don't know either. I say lower your energy though, because it kind of reminds me of like like root chakra work,
Mhm.
where
Mm,
you're in
yeah.
survival, and that frequency is like, it's like really, really low.
Yeah.
I remember this is like completely random, but kind of related, but like I remember being in a class around exorcisms, and the practitioner brought out it was Mortellus, if you know Mortellus.
Oh yeah,
But
I
they
know
brought
Mortal.
out like objects that were haunted,
Mhm.
and then they like let out the haunting or whatever. And it was so wild because I was like cold when I was in the room. And then as soon as they let out these said haunted pieces or spirits of the haunted pieces, it's like it got really hot, and it felt like the energy just shifted into like this very guttural sort of like energy. And that's when I kind of realized that like damn, Hollywood completely gets it wrong when it comes to ghosts, right? Because we always see it as like
Cool,
it's
right?
cold and yeah. But it's actually the opposite. It's very like hot and like guttural and like, and it just reminds me of like those lower chakras, especially the root chakra, because it's rooted in fear and survival. And I think when we go to that place, we're trying to survive. We're trying to resist the oppression that we're feeling. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I'm seeing it. But I definitely think that that's why it does take a little bit of an advanced practitioner, whatever that means, but
Yeah.
sense of like, how are you going to be able to get yourself out of it? Or are you going to get, like you were saying, Julia, consumed by it or
Yeah.
taken over by
Well,
it?
it's making me have a question for all of you. Do you think that this is just something that's coming up for me right now? Do you think that going to that low frequency, is it because it's a problematic thing, or is it a manufactured problematic thing? Is it because the world has kind of, like capitalism or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah,
has
you're right.
created a situation where being in the root is not a, it's a
It's
shameful
a
place to be.
shameful place. I definitely don't think it's a shameful place, but I
Like,
think
do you know what I mean?
it's
Like,
rooted
you're
in
not supposed
fear.
to feel
Yeah,
connected. You're not supposed to feel grounded. You're supposed to be all up in your head worrying about everything. You're not
right.
supposed to be of the earth or of your body, or like
And the root
experience
chakra is
everything around.
argumentatively the most important. That's the one we have to work on the most.
Yeah.
It's the one
So,
that, I mean, for me anyway, like to me, if you don't have that stable base, if you are
Mhm.
not grounded in your in who you are and in your life and in your ability to and your right to exist and take up space and have the things that you need,
mhm.
like if you don't have that grounding, like you're not going to have power anywhere else, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah.
And our
I agree.
and I think it is a lot of because of like the Abrahamic religions and
Mhm.
like the New Age movement, like our culture that does talk about the chakras, like the whitewashed, you
Mhm.
know, it's all like focus on heart and above, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little solar
Yeah.
plexus. And then like, you know, if it's like reclaiming the feminine, they might touch on the sacral, you know, but like the root is like you know, I think the root is like nobody talks about it. Nobody wants, you know, like, oh, you don't want to get stuck down in the root. It's like, well, okay, cool. Like, let me just float away, like, you know, and be sucked in by social media and be sucked
Exactly.
in by, you know, these, um, you know, negative thoughts that people are throwing at me and be sucked in by like people's opinions of me because I don't have that grounding in my root.
Mhm.
And I don't have that knowing that I am this person no matter what other people think of me. I am, deserving, and I, deserve to fight back, and I deserve to, you know what I mean? And I think that's why I do a lot of like grounded, like physical root kind of things when I do this work. And I am coming from like the root and sacral, where I am like really angry and I am really like emotional, and I am, because I'm drawing my power from that, if that makes sense. And I'm really getting down into that space. And I don't see it as like, when, we're talking about lower versus higher, I don't see that as like a hierarchy, right? Like, I don't see it as like, it's bad to be in this lower frequency, but I think that that's a lot of like the discourse around these things is like, oh, we should all be high vibration and we should be this and that. But it's like, but if you're not taking up space and you're not grounded in your reality, and you're not feeling like you belong and that you have the right to live and you have the right to defend yourself and you have the right to, thrive, right? And you don't have a home and you don't have food security and you don't have financial security, all of these things are root things. And sometimes we have to fuck a bitch up, right, to get these things. I mean, it's what it is, right? And so, like, I think for me, that is why I do the work that I do when I do these things. But it's also like, then how do you do the aftercare, right? So that I'm not getting stuck down in this, I don't have what I need, and this person's keeping it from me. I'm like, okay, I did the thing. Now, how do I build my own power back up, right? Exclusive of what this person is doing. How do I get back into that space of, I know who I am. I have the right to have, I have the right to be, and then move on from there. So, like, there is a good point to that. But again, like, you both were saying, it's like, you have to be able to like let it go and not get stuck in that like emotional state of lack or fear or victimization or whatever it is. And I mean, and sometimes the reality of our world, right, is like, Julia, or I mean, Veronica, you were saying this, like, sometimes you still have to deal with your person that's causing you shit. Like, sometimes you have to deal with your abuser. Sometimes you have to deal with that person at work who's gossiping about you, and keeping you from getting, like, recognition that you deserve, or like moving forward on your career path or whatever it is, right? And like, why are you a bad person for wanting, like, when you've done everything you can to counteract what that person's doing on the physical plane, like, why are you a bad person for saying, stop spreading lies about me, right? Like, stop hindering my right to exist and my right to have and my right to thrive, just because you're jealous or whatever it is, right? And so then how do you protect yourself from that ongoing, like, so that every time you see this person, you're not thinking about that, right? And that was a difficult one for me when I did that kind of spell, because I'm like, I still have to deal with this person. Like, luckily I didn't have to see or interact with them every day, but it was like, how do I keep this past from like infecting the present? And I think like it does, and I'm not trying to say like a person who's new at witchcraft can't do something like this, but it does take practice, and it does take fucking around and finding out, right? Like, oh shit, I didn't, like you were saying, Nishita, like, I did this spell and it came out like this, all kinds of ways I wasn't expecting, right? And like, maybe at the end of the day it all worked out, but it was like rough there for a minute. And like, am I okay with that? And how do I move on from that? Or like, oh, I did this spell to like protect myself from this person, but yet they're still on my mind constantly, and I'm still feeling fear, and I'm still feeling, so like, what was the point? Like, did I close off that cord? Am I shielding myself when I'm around them? Am I carrying this animosity or resentment from what they've been doing into the past? Like, because what you want to do, right, is create a future that's different. So when you're bringing that bullshit from the past into the present, it doesn't matter what kind of spells you did. If you're still thinking this person's still going to talk shit about me, right? Like, why did you even do the spell then if you can't believe in a future that's different?
It's just like preparing for an event, like in Muay Thai, like preparing for a fight, or with pole or any dance, going in a competition. Like, if you're not practicing and then you go in and this thing happens, let's use pole for an example. You try to do some crazy trick. This I don't know, fungi or something. You try to go in there and you don't know how to comfortably do the move right before the shoulder mount or the flag or whatever, and then you fall and you hurt yourself and you're on stage and everyone saw it. And then the next person comes on and they do it perfectly. And then the next time you see them outside, you're like, oh no, like there's that person who beat me and I'm going to go on stage again and I'm going to fall again. Or you can go and practice your fungi and get it perfect and go back on stage and do it great and nail it. And so it's like the same thing in different ways. You do have to go and you have to try and you have to do the thing, but you can't let something that you cause in your mind stop you from living your best or for not trying a little bit to practice. So that is like a very similar way to think of it is you just have to try and practice. And if it's not your thing to do this kind of stuff, then it's not your thing either. Like I don't do it a whole lot, you know, I don't practice it, but I practice other means to help myself get through a moment.
Yeah. It kind of like going back to like the root chakra thing, it kind of reminds me of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like the shadow work, right? Like coming back to yourself, confronting those fears head on and understanding, am I the problem? Am I being the one who's being ridiculous? You could be also facing the resistance to, like you were saying earlier, May, like being mad at someone because it's a part of you that you see in yourself, having to see that. It can be really hard. That's why they always say like shadow work is best with like a therapist, because you're going to be doing a lot of like hard confronting, and sometimes that's really difficult, and it's good to have that support. And so that's kind of what I meant, like by lowering your energy, because you're coming back down into your center, into that root. And it's not that it's evil or anything like that, or bad or negative. It's just that there has to be support for you, because it's so easy to kind of
Yeah.
be stuck there and not be able to get yourself out. And I think that's one of the positive things about maybe the gossiping, because if you think about it, therapy is just gossip. Like it's professional
Yeah.
gossip, and
Right.
it's a way for us to process our emotions. And so having like a community to say, hey, there's like this bitch, da 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 da, and like I don't like her, and da 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 da, and this is what she did, and they're like, yeah, screw her, and then you're like, yeah, and then you're like, oh, I guess I'm good. Like I just needed to get that off my chest,
Yeah.
and I can forget about them, and I don't really need to like deal with this anymore. Or maybe it's just journaling and, coming back to the fact that, oh, this person hurt me. Why am I so mad at them? Like they just made a small comment that really doesn't do anything to me. And I was like, oh, well, it hurt me because I love them and like it hurt my feelings. But like, I just need to move past that, and then also communicate like, hey, I don't like that you did that. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. Move on. It doesn't have to become this parasite. It's like a parasite that feeds on you. It can be something that you just release. But yeah, that's what it reminded me of, is just the grounding is a good point of just coming back to yourself and deciding, coming back to the discernment of like, does this require a fight? Does it require for me to, do that? And am I prepared for that? Have I prepared myself in this Muay Thai fight to get punched back, and particular, potentially get taken down?
Mhm.
And am I ready for that? No, I'm not. So I think I'm just gonna try to work through this in some way. But it really just depends. And it has nothing to do with like good or bad or anything like that. It's really just about yourself at the end of the day. And even if you do the spell, it's a lot of times just for yourself. It's to initiate the cutting the cord so that you can go about your life.
Mhm.
I love what you're saying, because something I struggled with for a very long time, because of kind of like the upbringing I had, is self-worth. And for me, it was really hard to ground. So I was always in the head. So
Mm.
that's why I was asking the question before. Do you think the lower energy is because it's hard for us to be there because of
Yeah.
conditioning, societal norms, right? Because I would say I'm fairly grounded now, and I love being. It is such a beautiful place to be. Like I feel I connect better with the world more now than ever. And I thought I was pretty connected before, and compared to now, it's a very different thing. And I just feel like being in the mind is much more clear because I feel like mine is a lot about messages. Like it's like a satellite. You're sending off information and grabbing information and across different dimensions and timelines. And I feel like that information is more clear and straight and focused compared to before it was all over the place because I wasn't grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And something I wanted to bring up, I'm really enjoying this conversation about Baneful Magick because I feel like we're kind of going under it a little more. Like not just straight up like here's a spell. Like I feel like we're really talking about, you know, ourselves in the world as witches. And something I wanted to bring up is kind of how I see passion and rage as a mirror of each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I think of Baneful Magick, I think of that. I
Mm.
think about like how you have that rage, but it's because you have that passion for whatever that was, like that thing you're passionate about. Someone said something or did something, or vice versa. You got rage because you're passionate about it, whatever it is. It's like it triggered both. And I feel like what is like, for example, when I was saying like how I like to deal with that situation often is I take that rage and I turn it into passion for
Mm-hmm.
my like how do I better my life so that I can just let that go and not even let that be a part of my world. Don't let it influence my energy and create a world that I don't want. I don't want them to make world build for me. I'm going to world build. So, I would love to ask you guys on, how do you feel about that concept of passion and rage in Baneful Magick?
Yeah.
I think it's a huge part.
Mm-hmm.
There's, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that would motivate me is that anger and then turning it into something
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
I also feel like that's where it gets really difficult too, right? Because a lot of people, I know I'm speaking for myself. I feel guilty feeling anger a lot of times. And it takes me a while, but it's like I know that I feel it because I'm an Aries rising and I know I'm supposed to feel it. I'm supposed to go through that cycle, but I do feel it's complicated. It's confronting, right? To go there and be like, I am mad at this person that I love so much. And to
Mhm.
be able to communicate that, I think as well is really difficult.
And I think too, Julia, going kind of back to your other question as well, is sometimes, like you said, Veronica, like that anger or that rage can make you feel guilty, and that might be the part that feels like you're kind of lowering how you feel. And
Yeah.
there's some people who will go through that, and it'll be so difficult that they will ask someone else to do the curse for them.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people ask
Mm-hmm.
me, like, hey, I have this so and so. Can you please do something to get them to stop doing the thing? And so there's that part of it too, where there's people who are just like, I physically cannot do this thing. I'm so angry. I am so hurt. I need help. Can you do it? You know? So it it can cause so many different things. But yeah, I totally can get with that anger and rage, and it's definitely a thing for me
Yeah.
personally that would be like the thing to like ignite it for me to like want to go and do whatever.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I don't really get angry unless it's something I care strongly about, right? So if there's no passion there, there's probably not going to be any anger. My
Mm-hmm.
issue is that I'm very passionate about justice and seeing things be fair. And so like I will get so angry so very angry about unfairness or injustice.
Mhm.
And I think like that's where sometimes I have to go, is this my fight?
Mhm.
Right? Like not
Mhm.
to be like, you know, oh, this isn't affecting me, it's not my problem, you know what I mean? But like sometimes having good boundaries means letting the person who is getting affected do the fighting, right? Like, yeah, because like I can get very angry, like on behalf of my friends or like other people who are, you know, maybe like kind of the target of, you know, systematic injustices, right? And it's just like, but it's like, am I taking their power away by like rushing in to fight for them? Am I taking their power away by not letting them set their own boundaries, right? And
Yeah.
boundaries are like about what you do, right? They're not about controlling other people, but it's like, okay, if you do this to me, this is what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like following through on those consequences for people, right? But so yeah, I think though, like if it's not something I care, if I don't care about it, if I'm not passionate about it, like I could give two shits and I'm not going to waste my energy, right? So like,
Mhm.
and I do think that, you know, I mean, they activate the same kind of pathways, right? The fucking and fighting, right? Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that activation, that neural activation. You know, it's very, they light up similar places in our brain. And then, you know, you're going back down to root chakra, right? Like,
Mhm.
so, um, yeah, I don't really feel like I can do effective. I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, don't curse when you're angry or whatever, but it's like, I'm also the kind of person that like, I don't really, I used to, I think when I was younger, but like at this point in my life, I don't really get angry until like I've been pushed. Do you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Like, I'm not the, like, anger is not like, well, rage, I would say, maybe anger, maybe some anger, you know? But like, I don't really get rage angry until it's been a minute. Like, I've given you several warnings, right? I've
Exactly.
given you several opportunities to change, and now I gotta show a bitch what's up, right? Like, so,
Yeah.
and that's, you know, I think where, yeah, I don't, I really do kind of need that to fuel me. And, you know, but then again, like, I think I'm pretty comfortable with anger. I think there are times when I get carried away with it, like because there's not a good outlet, like and it just kind of feeds on itself, right? And that's sometimes where I will do like a little bit of something, right? Like physical, because it's like I'll get angry about it, but there's nothing I can really do, right? And then it just kind of feeds and feeds, and then I almost feel like embarrassed, like I have a rage hangover or something, you know, like, and I'm just like, oh my god, I can't believe I acted that way, because it was almost like a younger self took over, right? Like some, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And that's really the only time I get like kind of feel guilty about getting angry, where it's like, what is this really about? You know, like there have been times like my partner and I very rarely like have um I think like we've had an argument maybe like 3 or 4 times, but there have been times where I am upset about something and then it's like something happens and then I start kind of spinning out of control because it's like I'm triggered, and it's not
Mhm.
even about him, it's not even about here and now, it's about something else. And that's where, you know, that comes back to like, okay, what's this really about? And you have to look at yourself, like, am I really mad because, you know, that guy asked me to smile and now I'm going to hex him, you know, or am I mad because of something else? Right. So, you know, I think like this is where knowing yourself and knowing where you stand and how you react to things and how like where you fit in the tapestry of the world, right? And like when you were talking about your ancestors, Veronica, that made me think of things too, because it's like, as aware as witches can be, like we're only aware of like a small part of the tapestry, right?
Mm.
Like we don't see the whole thing. And so like we can do what we can do, and we can do our spells, and we can do our, and that's like why sometimes I feel like spells are not even affecting the other person necessarily, they're affecting me, because
Mhm.
that's my piece of the tapestry. And like sometimes there's a lesson to be learned there that I can't see yet, you know, in the pattern, in the weaving, right? Or there's, you know, something like maybe that person, then I hate to say shit like this because I feel like I don't like the new agey kind of, oh, you're here to learn a lesson. And so like you brought this on yourself kind of, and I don't mean it in that way, but sometimes that anger or that injustice or that feeling of being threatened is the impetus that makes you go, I need to change something. You know, like I need to get away from this friendship. I need to get away from this relationship. I need a new job. I need to get more sleep. I need to feed myself, you know, whatever it is. Right. And, you know, again, that comes back down to like, how am I contributing to the situation, or what do I need to take from this experience? And sometimes you are really being hurt and you need to defend yourself, and that's valid too, right? So I don't like, I mean, we've said this over and over, but this is not, you know, a black and white thing. This is not a all or nothing thing. It's not a positive or negative thing. Like there's a lot of pieces, there's a lot of nuances, there's a lot of like, what do you believe? Like, you know, do you believe this? Do you, I mean, like, because we've all said like what we think and how we believe and how our maybe like our cultures have influenced us and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's like, can you sit with it? Can you sit with what you did? Can you sit with the action that you took? And do you believe that it was the right thing to do? Right? It doesn't matter what somebody on social media is saying. It doesn't matter what your grandmother would say. It doesn't matter what, you know, your best friend would say. It's like, I felt fine. I felt okay smearing chicken shit on that picture and taping a mirror to that face. Like I felt just fine doing that. That made me feel great. Like that was like so empowering, you know, but like, and I, you know, just moved on with my life and I felt fine. Like I still think it's funny. It's like I love creative shit. So like,
Creative.
Yeah,
I
that's
love it.
awesome. That
but
makes me
like,
so happy.
yeah, at the end of the day, like you gotta know yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It comes back to
It all comes
discernment.
down to. Mhm.
And I think what you said, May, kind of struck a chord for me of like just being at a place where you're like, I just don't give a shit about this person. Smear the shit on the picture, wrap it up, throw it away. I'm done with this person. And maybe that's when we should act upon the curse, because it's like we're at a point where we're done. We're wrapped up. I have done a curse in anger, and I do feel like maybe that added something else, because it did like, you know, counteract back on me. And I was in this relationship for like 5 fucking years. But so maybe you know, and I think a lot of it was just where I was at, right? Like the curse that I was doing just didn't even really make sense, because I still wanted this person at the end of the day. So really, if anything, it was just I was perpetuating the problem. But I like what you said, where it was just like you're at a point where you're just like, I don't really care about this person. It's like the Capricorn cold cutoff, where I'm just like, I'm done. And then I just like cut you out. Like, and it's not that I don't want bad things for you. I just want us to like live peacefully, like both of us. You know, you go about your life and I'll go about mine, and there's no bad blood, but I'm done with you, you know. And that's it. Let bygones be bygones. But it's just not as easy. It's not that easy sometimes, and sometimes we have to do the baneful magic, the dirty work.
And sometimes people need to see the consequences of their
Sometimes
actions.
you have to teach a bitch.
You teach a bitch.
You gotta teach a
Yeah.
bitch.
I think
I love
that's what I love about Baneful Magic. I think like it came out of a place of, you know, neat, like what's the word I'm looking for? Like the disparity of the situation, like not having enough around you, being in a crappy place, the world's against you, and you know, a lot of peoples that were oppressed use this, you know, to protect themselves because they didn't have anything else. Like they were, you know, a lot of people were slaves, or a lot of people were in places that they were treated like shit, and they had no choice but to use what was at hand.
Yeah.
And I think there's something so beautiful about that. It's just like this, you know, and this is where I think of the rage and passion. It's like the passion of my existence, my self-worth. I'm going to stand up for that.
Yeah.
And as a community, we're going to work together and
Mhm.
do what we need to do to survive, you know? And I think that's a beautiful thing. And that's why I don't necessarily see, like, I'm telling you, if anyone has a chance to read about a 1,000 page book, read Shantaram, because, am I saying it right? Shantaram? Such a good book because it really talks about that, about how the light world is really not black and white at all. And like how there's all these little mini ecosystems of, you know, black markets in India, how people survive because they're at the lower caste system and they have no choice but to live like that. But then it's a whole ecosystem and they're happy.
Right.
And it's not, you know what I mean? So it's just like, it's so easy to judge, especially like, you know, I'm a white person, you know, reasonably privileged, like pretty privileged, actually. I shouldn't say, you know, I'm really privileged. And it would be easy for me if I wasn't educated or was ignorant, maybe, because some people are educated and ignorant. So, but like if I didn't, you know, pull the wool and look at what the reality of things are, and it would be really easy for me to just judge. And I'm not saying I never judged in the past when I was younger and I didn't know better, but as the world goes on, like, or as I get older, or as many times I go around the sun, I just learn more and more about how, you know, there's more than meets the eye, and it's just so easy for us to just judge. And like, instead of getting all caught up in about like everyone else and blah, 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 like, how about you think about your fucking life and what you're doing and how you're contributing to it? And what are the relationships that you're cultivating around you? And what are the relationships you're cultivating with yourself? Because I strongly believe in this, is that the world we create for ourselves and the relationship we create for ourselves is going to impact everything that touches us in a positive, well, a positive way, in a pleasant way for whatever comes in contact with you, right? And it's like you think of a tree and it's just doing its thing and it's not like causing shit for anyone else. It's only causing benefits to us. Like, why can't we be like that, you know? And if anything, tree's going to try to help the ones around it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I really believe in that, you know, and that's why I could never just judge someone for using Baneful Magic. And what I appreciate what all of you are saying today is like, well, if you need to do it, do it. And if it fucks up, it fucks up. But whatever you find out at the other end of the whole thing and what outcome you get, the most important thing is you learn from it. Don't just keep doing the same thing. Because in a sense, if you keep doing the same shit that causes you issues and puts you deeper in a hole, you just basically created a curse for yourself that you will repeat. And then you might just pass that on to someone else. Or if you have offsprings, you pass that on generationally. So it's like, you got to be careful. Just learn, you know, pay attention.
Yep. Yeah. It is so much easier to feel anger for other people than it is for myself oftentimes. I will fight for you guys.
Yeah. That's so fair.
When it comes to myself,
would,
it's so difficult. And I think a lot of that, and I think that's why I feel guilty when I feel anger, because I know once I feel anger, that something needs to change. And I'm like, ooh, that means I'm gonna have to walk away, that I'm gonna have to confront. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's my indicator. And I'm like, and then, but like, it's also a positive thing to walk through that, because then I, like you said, Julia, choose a better outcome for my life, because the anger is the first signal that something isn't right. Something is out of sync, or someone is hurting you in some way. And it needs to be dealt with, whether that's just a snide comment from someone, or if it is like intentional, or unintentional. But it's that, I think it's just so much easier for me to feel anger for other people. But that's where the shadow work comes in, because I'm like, okay, I know this about myself. What is this teaching me? And I know it's like it's like a lesson thing, and that like gets into like the very like spiritualism of it all. But I think being a Capricorn, it's just always so much easier for me to be like, okay, what's karma teaching me? It's just easier to like deal with that. If I can see it in that way, because I just always feel like Papa Saturn is like Mr. Miyagi, like wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, like it's really easy. It's kind of like it's so much easier to like tell other people what to do with their lives, right? Because it's like you don't have to live with the
That's my
consequences.
problem too.
Yeah, I do it too, as you know. Like, here's my unsolicited advice for the minute. Because it's like not only I feel like you don't know all the facts when you're looking in from the outside, and you also like get to like walk away from the situation,
Yep.
and so like to be angry for yourself and to have to like confront or walk away or whatever, like that means that you have to live with those consequences, and it's really hard, especially if it is somebody that you care about, and maybe like this is not the best person for me to keep in my life, or I do want to keep this relationship, but how do I, like I'm going to risk rejection from the other person, or I'm going to have this, argument, or I'm going to have this hard discussion, and it's going to cause feelings or whatever. And like, it's so much easier to just, and I think like it kind of goes back to this too, right? It's so much easier to like do a curse or to do a, working instead of like just go talk to the fucking person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be like, hey, like, what's your problem? You've been really weird with me lately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. I've just been
point.
dealing with a lot of shit. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, yeah. And I think like, I don't know. I mean, this is where I'm going to put on my like old shakes fist at cloud man hat. But like, I just sometimes think like there's such a like quick fix thing in our society, right? Like there's just a like it's so much easier to like light a candle or to like I don't know, whatever, than it is to like just deal with your shit, to deal with your relationships, to have those hard conversations, to sit with that discomfort, to look in the mirror and say, how am I contributing to this? Like, what can I change? What's within my control? How much do I actually care at the end of the day? Is it worth it? Like, all of this stuff. Like, is this an important relationship to me? Is this a pattern that I'm playing out? Is this somebody that I care about, or am I just mad that somebody doesn't like me? Right. Like, cause I know I can be that way. Like, I'm like, I want everybody to like me. Why doesn't this bitch like me? I don't like her. Right. Like, but she needs to like me. Like, what, you know what I'm saying?
Like a
Like,
likable person.
right. Yeah. Like, I'm a goddamn delight. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is her problem? Right. So like, I think, those are really like, I almost feel like it could be easier to curse somebody or to hex them or to like put them in a box or in the freezer in a jar or whatever, because it's like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to deal with these feelings that I'm feeling. I don't want to deal with this discomfort. I don't want to deal with this like possibility of confronting somebody and being hurt more. Right. And that's hard. It's really hard. And I think like, I think that's one reason why like if I do the work, it's either because like the person is not somebody I can safely talk to, or I've given them chances, or they've had chances to change and they haven't, like it's gotten to that point, and I care enough about the behavior to make it stop. And like for me, I think binding is always kind of my go-to, unless it's something like the chicken shit thing where it's like, I want you to face your actions. Like your actions are causing this, and I want you to see yourself for what you really are. Like, you're being a dick. You're hurting people who are less powerful than you. Like that makes you a chicken shit. In my opinion. You need to see that about yourself and you need to change. So like, the whole thing for me is not about like, oh, I want this person to suffer necessarily, but it's like, I want the harm to stop. So I think like that's where I kind of like have a little bit of a differentiation from some people who work Baneful Magic, is like, I want the harm to stop. And if possible, you can learn a lesson from it. But at the end of the day, the main thing for me is like the harm stopping. And it is definitely after like I've gotten to the point where like I've tried to work things out with you, I've given you chances, and maybe I'm not always like the best person at like, like I said, Portland passive aggressive, maybe I'm not always the best person at saying like what I really need to change or what is bothering me or whatever, but like that's something that I know I need to work on, right? And it's something I'm trying to work on. But yeah, I mean, I would say like in all of the years I've been practicing, which is like at this point getting close to like 35 years, I've probably done like a hex or a curse or a binding probably fewer than 10 times, you know. So it's not like something that's been a go-to for me.
Me either. And it's like you said, it's never anything like I want this person to die, or
right? Like,
anything
I want their
that.
dick to shrivel up, and I want, you know, I'm not like doing like the old Greek curse tablets, right?
Yeah. Like I have no judgment, you know, like if
right?
that's
Like,
if
yeah,
you're
you
into that. But it's always been like bindings, cord cuttings. I love the, you know, them seeing themselves or other people seeing themselves speaking the truth. Because if anything, you're just kind of taking off their manipulation tactics. You're just kind of doing away with the glamours. And that's always what I've done, even with my ex, you know. So I don't but I don't condone it either, because I also understand it when it gets down to like the being oppressed, that like that's you're in a different category of you know situation at that point. I remember being in England, we went to Baths, and inside they have like little like golden pieces where people wrote on curses back in the day, and it was always like something like so and so stole bread. I call upon Minerva to curse, da, 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 da. And it was like really beautiful, but it was just like because someone stole their bread, or like someone like pushed them or something like, and you know, like it's funny to think about, but then it kind of goes back to what Julia said, where it was like, well, like maybe that bread was all they had to eat for the week, you know, like that sucks, you know,
right.
so
Yeah.
smite you.
Right.
And admittedly, sometimes I curse people in traffic. Like if they like cut me off, I'll be like, I hope you get diarrhea today. And it'll be something simple like that. And then Mark always laughs about it. He's like, I bet these people are just like, why am I shitting so much?
What did I
Love me,
eat?
bitch.
Right.
But
I'm gonna
yeah.
think of you next time I
Same
have
thing.
diarrhea. I'll be like, God damn
You
it.
know, now that I think of it, oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say Veronica cursed me with diarrhea.
I was gonna say, like, I did get revenge on someone when I was 8 years old. But you remember, like, X-Lax used to be like chocolate bars,
Yes.
Yes.
and I'm like, "Do you want some of my chocolate?" Because I was
That's
pissed
awesome.
at them. So I guess that was my first hex, like intentionally, without
That was
realizing.
definitely it. That's so funny though.
I've always
There you
like
go.
wanted to do that when I was younger. I was because there were some people. I just never had I never had like the, you know, the guts to do it. Yeah.
I can't find that stuff anymore, by the way. I think they
I don't
take
think
it
they
away.
make it with chocolate
Yeah,
anymore.
I don't think
I think
so.
it's bad now. Too many kids giving
So
it to
funny.
other kids.
Right.
You can also do eye drops though, like the
Yeah.
Visine.
Eye drops? Wow.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Visine cause really bad stomach issues.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild.
See, this is like why, you know,
Veronica
these are the
with her
things I learned about
that's like
hanging out with military veterans, especially the older ones. It's like, so, you know, that fucker, blah, 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 you know, he didn't clean his rack. And so we did it, and we put we put in his coffee.
Oh my goodness.
My
Dang.
God, you guys are mean. Who knew?
I had a friend who put was mad at someone and was about to, but then we all stopped her from doing it, but putting Nair in the person's shampoo in the
Oh
laundry.
shit.
Oh
That's
my
fucked up.
gosh, that's rough.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
That'd
You don't
be-
touch hair, man. This will take credit.
Right.
But also, it can take off your eyebrows and everything, hurt your eyes.
Yeah, that shit hurts too.
Yeah. I think I used it like
Fiberglass.
once in the 80s, like for my legs, and I was like, never again. I have sensitive skin anyway, but
Yeah.
I was like, no.
This
I don't
is
think it's good for
nasty.
anyone. I think it was like fiberglass that was inside of it. It's terrible for you.
Right? Yeah. Shit.
That's
I'm
horrible.
also
we
like
all survived.
epilady old. Do you remember the epiladies? I don't know, like that, like yanked your hair out by the roots. It was like basically like a metal coil that vibrated, and you put it
Yeah.
on your, and it pulled your hair out.
Mhm.
I know.
Wow.
Torture devices.
Right.
See, and I always think of myself like, see, I can't feel guilty putting a ribbon around a person and being like,
Don't talk to me. That's, that's my little pathetic baneful match.
No, it's
Meanwhile, me with
Bean.
Mm, good
I
times.
think it's just as powerful. There's some rituals that require some nasty shit, like May, the chicken
Yeah.
shit. Or, just
Lengua
yes, exactly.
Mhm.
That mixed with this spice and this dirt and this
and pea
red
and
brick
maca.
and yeah, all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, but I think it doesn't, if the energy is there, I think the binding spell is just as potent sometimes.
Mhm.
You're right.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm.
I also
They'll even
want to
just do
say,
gestures, like,
Yeah.
Right?
you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
what
Mm-hmm.
was the arm one anymore? I can't remember.
Like,
Oh, yeah, this one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Or even like there'll be times like I'll be with my mom or my sister and we're somewhere and something happens and we'll just be like,
Yes.
and then the other person's like, immediately. It's just that's all that has to happen. And whoosh. So energy is there.
yeah. I think the gestures are also a good way to deflect the bad vibes
Mm,
too. Because I
Mhm.
do the shaka a lot because I'm just like, you know what? Peace with
mhm.
me, bro.
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh. I'm like, nope. You just kind of like, tend to sit back.
Right.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
that evil
Look,
eye away
look.
from me.
Yeah.
Even the positive evil eye sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I walk into a place like, nope, walking back out, I could
Mhm.
just feel
Yeah.
it. It's not
Yeah.
good.
You feel the bad vibes. Yeah.
Mhm. I
Do you
agree.
think the evil eye works because it's recognized for so long? And when people see it, they're like, well, I'm not going to cause any crap because I know that's going to deflect it back on me. Do you think that's what it is?
I mean, it's ancient. I think it's because of the color
Around
blue.
for a long time.
There's a lot of roots with paint blue. I think it's also an eye, like I feel like in nature, like you see like moths with like an eye on their back and it's a way to like protect you. I also think that the eye reflecting back is almost like, I don't know, it does something to the brain where it's just like you kind of have to look at yourself and you're like, oh, it's kind of like turning that mirror on yourself.
Mhm.
Or you feel perceived too, right? Like you
Yeah,
try to cause shit, but you feel perceived.
yeah,
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 So I
Like
think there's a
something's
lot.
watching you. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I
like the
was going to
really
say the
ancient.
reflection too, like because you reflected
Yeah.
in other people's eyes.
exactly.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like you
Makes a
really
lot of
don't
sense.
see yourself.
yeah,
You
Yeah.
only see other people's reflections of you.
exactly.
Mhm.
Mm.
Even wearing a tika or a bindi or anything
Yeah,
that can be like yeah.
the protecting your evil eye or
Here, bitch.
the third eye as like a baby or like
Mhm.
there's all sorts of things. Like my mom used to tell me like when I'm around a baby and I'm like, oh, you're so cute. Always touch the baby because then you take the mal de ojo that you give the baby. It's not like you're trying to put it on them, but it's like, oh, you're so beautiful, but you want to touch them so then it like doesn't turn into like sickness or something. I don't know, it's a thing, but like that's why I think, a lot of like curses oftentimes are unintentional too, because people could just look at you and be like, oh my gosh, I love your dress. It's so beautiful. And then it's just like, but if it comes from a place of envy, that can
Mhm.
like turn into something. But if you got your protection, then it just kind of deflects back to
Mhm.
and nothing
Yeah.
happens. So I don't know. It's kind of like acknowledging the spiritual side, but not letting it get to a point of fear, because I think it's easy to kind of turn into, well, did they just curse me? Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, like this
Yeah.
person's bad. And it's
Yeah.
like, no, then they're not thinking about you like at all.
Right.
Balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like May was saying earlier about how it's a lot about, inner reflection and
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know, like how you can create your own circumstance by the thoughts that you have, right?
Right. Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
Do we want
I
to?
just love this conversation.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh,
I
I'm
can
like,
talk about it all.
let's keep talking.
I love it. So it's so nuanced, I think, and social media, I think, really tends to make it worse, honestly, just because I think they kind of like glamorize it a little bit.
Yes.
And
Oversimplify too.
Well, and I
yeah,
feel like it's a glamorizing, but it's also like there's that element of danger. Like,
yeah,
oh, you shouldn't do this. You're gonna get punished. It's gonna come back on you, but you should totally do it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I
I have
just
a
feel
hot
like
take on that.
do
Ooh,
you? I want to hear it because
yeah,
I just
yeah,
it
me
doesn't
too.
sit with me.
I have
Yeah.
a hot take on that. Do you get the impression? Now, I've been watching before this whole podcast recording. I was like, I don't know much about hex, so I need to absorb as much information. So I'm like reading books, I'm looking at like witch talk, everything.
Oh
But I
no,
get
not
the
witch talk.
impression, now I'm not saying everyone, and witch talk is the great, like the best place to go to see bullshit. Like that's the place you need to go. Not all of it's bullshit, but I will say there's a lot. There's some really good people on there though. Um, I get the impression sometimes, not everyone, but there's like a large, like there's a big pattern of this. Sorry, I can't speak English today. Um, it's almost like being baneful for the sake of being baneful for
Yes,
clout.
For
Yes.
for the
yes, it
aesthetic.
glamorizes it.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Like, look at me, what a bad witch I am. I'm
Yeah.
so
don't fuck
spooky.
with
I'm
me. I'll
yeah.
put a curse on you.
I'm so
Yeah.
dark.
And I
Right.
also, I'm so
Those curves.
knowledgeable
Yeah.
because I know how to do all these
Yeah.
Yeah.
curses.
I
And
think
then
I
I
went through
swear to
that
God,
phase in high school.
Yeah,
yeah. And then we found out, right?
Mhm.
yeah.
But you know
And
what's interesting is I see a lot of these people that are on these like, what do you call those people that decide to be Christian and then they tell their story? What is that called? Um,
Like born again or
no, like the act of explaining how they saw the light and
oh.
want to share their
oh,
story to like,
Testimony.
yeah, that's the word, testimony.
Like they testify.
So I noticed that yeah, there's this huge, like, I'm sorry, people that I may offend, or maybe I'm not. Um, but there's a large group of them that are like, well, I did all these hexes and curses when I was a witch because that's what witchcraft is about. And it was like, I got shit. I'm like, bitch, you gave that to yourself. Like, if you're going around doing baneful shit for your own clout or jealousy or whatever, you're just creating a world of negativity in your life or like creating your own landscape. Like I was saying, you're creating that world for yourself. It's nothing to
exactly.
do with witchcraft. You
Nope.
just you just created that. Like you were successful and bending the energy into that direction. You attracted like with like. So it's like that you got what you asked for. You know what they say? Like, be careful for what you wish for. You
Mhm.
want to be a baneful bitch. Well, there you go. You're a baneful bitch. That's
You're a
getting
baneful
shit. Like,
bitch.
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Mhm.
It
Because
just
I'm
seems
pretty
like a
sure
lot of work.
professional. Yeah, it is. Like,
Like
it's
I'm
a
just
lot of
like,
work. Like,
I don't know if I care about anybody that much, like to be constantly
I'm like
fixing
too
people.
old for that shit.
I don't
Very exhausting.
hmm
Yeah, for
And I just
sure.
feel like there's more, like even people who are like, oh, hex, hex the patriarchy. It's like, what, like how, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the sentiment is there,
Yeah,
right? But like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what exactly are you accomplishing? Like, what are you,
Or how are
I
you going
just
to
feel
do it?
like, there's more like boots on the ground ways to change things like that.
exactly. And I feel like oftentimes I have friends that are just like, well, why don't you like do something to like help with the resistance? And it's like, I definitely do magic for resistance, but like, what do you want me to fucking do? Light a candle and like change the fate of
Yeah.
the world? Like that's not my responsibility. Like
Yeah.
we will do our own things in our own ways, but
Right.
like I think when you get into too much, like on something like that level too, you're really just, it's like Nishita said, it just takes a lot of energy and it's a lot of responsibility. And it's also just, there are other ways that we can help.
Yeah.
Whether that's empowering other witches to continue, you know, to practice their craft, you know, like I feel like there are just so many other ways that we can go about it. And I feel like oftentimes I see this mostly with men where it's just like, well, why don't you just do a little spell and cast a little something, something? And it's almost like there's like a doubt there.
Mm.
And then it
Mhm.
just like,
Yeah, it's like belittling you.
yeah, they're like, well, if you're so powerful, why don't you like do this? And I'm like,
That's
okay,
not how it works.
you don't understand any of
Because the
this.
universe isn't a vending machine. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. It doesn't work
Like,
that way. Everyone has free will. But I would say, like, you want to hex the patriarchy, build up, like, you build your relationships
yeah,
with your people,
community.
whatever identification they have, like, it doesn't matter. Loudly love them, loudly lift them
Exactly.
up, and loudly love yourself. I think there's nothing more powerful than that alone, because you can't fuck with that. That's like full independence right there.
What you were saying, Julia, about like attracting like and like, where it's like if you're, you know, doing the magic to better your life, then other people around you are gonna do the magic to better their life. And it kind of just it happens together collectively where, you resist in small ways, whether that's feeling joy or maybe taking a nap and saying, I'm calling into work today and I'm gonna rest, like
Yeah.
they're just different ways that we can fight back that doesn't have to be rooted in harm,
Mhm. Yeah.
Like breaking a curse of the patriarchy,
breaking the curse, yeah.
right? Like you
Yeah.
need to be always working, never be lazy, don't take naps.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't feel your emotions or,
Right.
don't
be angry. Smile.
be angry. Yeah.
Buy more. I don't know. Just like feel like there's so many ways of resisting. I don't know if we lost Julia.
I think Julia froze.
She froze, but yeah, there's so many, and I think like I said, I would love to see the patriarchy fall, but then it's like I always think about like I don't think vague magic works. Like you can't just be like hex the patriarchy. Like what are you doing? Like how is the patriarchy going to be like what are you doing, right? And then like what's going to come into that vacuum? Like let's focus on things that we want, right? Like what do we want when we say hex the patriarchy? What is it that we actually want?
Exactly.
And I think like that's where my magic has always kind of been, like it's definitely, I'm not like a love and light person, but it's like it makes more sense to me to put my thought and my energy into something that I want versus something I don't want.
That's so true. Because sometimes you can get something that you don't want if you're that big. And you're really just not breaking the pattern of it. If you're not addressing exactly like what about the patriarchy do you not like? Well, I feel like I have to mother everybody. Okay, well maybe you should set better boundaries.
Right.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I have energy now.
Right.
Ah. Yeah.
It's
It's been
powerful.
a good discussion. It really has.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like it went in places I wasn't really expecting it to go, but I think it went to good places, like places that were helpful, I hope.
Yeah. Same. Because I was thinking the same too. I'm like, I don't really want to be just talking about doing the spells or things like that.
Yeah, you're back.
Power outage. Sorry.
That's all right.
No worries.
Yeah.
No, we were just kind of saying about how like it's good to focus on things that you want, right?
Yeah.
Like and then changing them. And then we were talking about how the conversation went in places that we weren't really, well, at least for me, I wasn't really expecting, but it was good.
It was.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely some cool stuff about this topic more so than like what I was just gonna say, than just talking about how to do the spells, how to do the curses, use this ingredients. Like I didn't really want to get into just that kind of stuff today, so I'm really glad.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of like resources out there for people, too.
Yeah.
Like
So
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
easy
So
to,
much.
like, the intention, obviously, there are several other things. It's not always about intention, but I do think that, if you're in a spot to do the curse, you're going to do the curse, whether that's mentally or energetically or with actual physical objects. People are powerful, like everyone,
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
thoughts are powerful, words are powerful, actions are powerful.
Mhm.
So I think that's kind of the takeaway is like, I think even people who are like, I would never curse somebody. It's like, okay, but have you ever like thought ill towards somebody? Have you ever like,
That's a good point.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
maybe you didn't do like a full on actual like physical spell, but like,
Yeah.
like, what do you think you did?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot, I think, to unpack here. And I think there's just like a lot of like Western Eurocentric cultural bias about it too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%.
And I hope this was healing too for people. You know what I mean? Like wherever you're coming from, whether you are against the concept of baneful magic or you're for it, I hope that this conversation was enlightening. I don't know if that's like too strong of a word to use, but like it's lack of words that come to my mind, but like just like helps you think about it a little more and
Empowering too, almost.
empowering, yeah. And like compassion, I think, is an important thing to have when you're thinking about baneful magic for yourself and for others. And just understanding that everything's a risk, everything has consequences. And thinking about being careful with your words, careful with your thoughts, and if you weren't careful, well, then you just learn from it, right? That's all you can do. And I mean, no one's perfect and we do things and maybe it all works out and maybe it doesn't, but maybe that complete screw up opens a door for you or a realization and helps you grow more as a person. So like, there's no judgment, whatever happens.
I agree. Mm.
You guys want to pull cards?
Yes. I'm ready.
So what are the decks we got today, my friends?
Let's see. I have the Kali Oracle.
Ooh,
Ooh,
I love that deck. I just bought it. So good.
Oh,
I have Penny Dreadful tarot deck.
love
I
that.
got the Seasons of the Witch deck.
Oh, nice.
Lorianne Anderson and my favorite Juliet Diaz. I freaking love her.
She's
Yeah.
amazing.
She's amazing.
I have an oldie that I haven't pulled out in years, but it's the Halloween Oracle.
I love it.
That's such a cool card.
Yeah, it is.
Tarot deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, the card today. Oh my gosh.
Let's hear it.
So good. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
It's the apple.
Ooh.
Sorry, I'm trying to like my things weird. There we go. It's the apple, and it says risk and reward. And I
Oh
made
my
that comment
goodness.
earlier. What the heck? Let's see what
That's
it's
spot on.
Yeah, let's see what it says in the book. Oh, it's kind of got a little riddle in, not a riddle, but like a little poem in a way. Sweetest icon, risky red desire, poison and freedom, tempting heart's fire. And like apple has been a symbol of Samhain for a very long time. Apples, when cut in half, have a seed pattern that looks like the pentagram. And so the Celts held the fruit to be sacred. Bobbing for apples is a game traditionally played at Halloween. Samhain. Has its origin in Samhain Festival and is one of the oldest associated with this celebration. Okay, let me see. It's talking a lot about Samhain. Apples have been an iconic part of the mythos of the ancient times in the modern story. A poison apple and Snow White to the Roman goddess Pomona's magical apple tree, to the Christian tempting fruit in the Garden of Eden. Should you receive this apple in your reading, it's time to look at how risk plays out in your life. Are you hedging your bets and not trying anything anew? Do you want to change but are not willing to change anything? Are you willing to risk to get greater reward? Or alternatively, are you risking too much too often? That's a pretty good.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
so
it
fun.
yeah, that really goes with the theme here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Huh. Even the way that card looks too looks like a spell in itself.
Mhm.
It
It's very
does.
cool.
It has like the apple blossom there, and then there's the blood.
Blood.
Mhm.
Yeah. I always think of the hand as the cup,
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
like emotions.
I
Yeah.
like that it like kind of looks like you have a choice too.
Yeah.
It's like, do you want to do this?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you want to go deeper?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I think of the heart as like, what does your heart say?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
Yeah. Mm. Deep.
Yeah. Who's next?
I can go next. Okay. So I got the dark moon, which is
Ooh,
spot on.
beautiful.
Yes.
New moon, all about new beginnings. And the little poem is, in the dark of your heart lives new breath, waiting for you to release its ghost. Which I just think about like how we were talking about spells and like how it kind of moves through us, or even gossip or the words like
Mm.
moving through us to release, all the junk that we're kind of feeling. And so the card reads, in the mystical world, the dark moon is a time of setting intentions and welcoming new beginnings. It is the beginning of the moon cycle and represents a chance to start afresh with new and renewed energy. The dark moon is like the last stretch of darkness before the rise of the dawn, or in this case, the moon. It represents hope, better days to come, and an easier road to travel. The period supports visualizing and is a great time to expand your mind. Use this time to dream without thinking about the limitations of life. What do you want to create in your life? What goals do you want to manifest? Think big. The bigger, the better. Think as if you had a magic wand that would grant you every wish, no matter the cost or energy required. If you are holding the Dark Moon card, know that there is always a chance to start again. Your situation may seem like the end of the road, but it is not, especially for those who know the power of spirit. You must have hope even when things seem too hard to bear. There is always a new moon just a few weeks away, and there will always be a new opportunity waiting for you as well. It may not come as quickly as you'd like, but hope is a powerful force and it will set things into motion. And so I don't know. I think that that really makes a lot of sense, right?
Yeah.
It's that going back to that root center. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
kind of deciding like what's my intention here
Mhm.
with
What do I
potentially,
want?
yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
what do I
Mhm.
want?
Mhm.
Why do I feel like I need to go to the curse route? Should I go to the curse route? Like it's really, I think a card of empowerment. And if you do choose that curse, there's always going to be another new moon for you to kind of
Mhm.
renew and start again and learn the lesson and kind of figure out where you want to navigate. So I think that's really cool. And it has another hand
Ah,
with smoke coming out, which I feel like it is so representative of like the words,
Yeah.
verbalization, and the messages that we want to send out. So
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that dark moon too. And like, we all have done our work with Hecate and like
Mm,
the crossroads, like making those like decisions, like where you're at, like
yeah.
which path am I gonna be taking?
yeah. And it
Mm.
goes back to like release work too, where it's like maybe it's time to make a new choice to break out of the pattern, to break out of the curse. I'm now releasing this old pattern to cut this person out of my life or stand my ground and my boundaries or, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that like if that didn't work, then you can try again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. And learn.
And learn. Yeah.
Yes.
Magic school bus words.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yes. Well, I have another card that also has hands. So like,
Oh my gosh.
the Justice card, which
Oh, that's
gosh.
perfect.
pretty perfect.
Reciprocity.
Mhm.
Like as soon as I flipped it over, I'm like, there's so many things. Like we were just talking about like the reciprocity and having like the
The
cord,
cord.
the chords and the connecting the two, and then the spider, um, like that when we were talking about community and building like the web and how we're all connected. And I was like, oh shit, this is like so much of all the parts of the conversation that we had in just a simple little drawing. But
That's my card
yeah,
of the year.
And the balance.
yeah, the balance and
That's wild. I feel like spiders are so representative of shadow work too.
mhm.
Like for
Yeah,
me at least. They always come up when I'm like, ah.
right.
Also, spiders make me think about how their webs are constantly destroyed and they have to remake them.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I saw something the other day in folklore that talked about how in some traditions, spiders represented protection. Like they would create a web. If they created a web in front of your house, they're protecting you from something. They're warding
Oh, cool.
something. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I was very happy with this card. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so
And
perfect.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, that's
in general
100%
too.
perfect.
Yeah. And then just the fact of like justice, like sometimes when we do Baneful Magic, that's like the reason why we're prompted to do it is like that rage bringing us justice or whatever to the person.
Yeah, and even when people, who are oppressed, it's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's such a perfect card.
I
Good.
know.
So
I
good.
love
You have
spiders.
a hand in yours too,
too.
May?
So I have no
That's yours.
hands.
Okay.
I have no hands.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Kali Mahamaya. So y'all know these are really long in the book, but
They
I,
are.
but I was like scoping through, and I'm like, I think it's important to read all of it. So hopefully it's not like too long. So Kali Mahamaya is Kali Ma, the spiritual truth beneath all appearances, the healing waiting to be discovered in all experiences. In harmony with your higher self, she manifests the path upon which you can best learn, heal, and grow. She's unclothed, symbolizing wild, unconditioned authenticity. She's the empowerment to discard conditioning and judgments that we have worn. Cast off the fearful constraints others have imposed on you. Connecting to your authentic being will attract healing, guidance, and divine grace to you now. So yeah, I was kind of like, I mean, there's more, but like I was thinking about how it's really empowering, right? To like not fucking care what other people are thinking about us and to do our own thing. And it's like, oh, if you're telling me that like, doing baneful magic is bad, but I don't feel like it is, like, then I'm going to do my thing, or vice versa, right? Like, if you think that I have to do this to be a witch, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself because I can do what I want, But I also like how, not only casting off like the conditioning that we have and like the thoughts that we have about this kind of work, but just like being true to ourselves and being true to spirit. And like, I don't know, I mean, the way I always think about Kali is like she's like the fabric of being like behind everything, right? Like, so I mean, I know like I always have her as a part of most of my other altars, and people are like, how can you do that? Or, like a lot of people are kind of weird about that. Like, oh, you're mixing pantheons, or, oh, like, isn't Hecate jealous that you have Kali or whatever? But it's like, but Kali is always there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like, so, I mean, I just feel like I can't not have her. Right. So I really like how this, and I like how I decided actually not to read the whole thing because there's a lot, but like, I love how she's like in the waters, right, of like emotion. And like her face is very fierce, and she has that third eye open, like seeing everything. And I feel like her face is almost like a challenge, like she's really challenging you to like see yourself. And then, the lotuses are always to me like so sacred, growing out of the mud, and they're so beautiful, and they're just opening up to the world, right? And I just feel like, and there are two of them, it's almost like the justice, right? And then her reflection is in the water. So it's like looking within, right? And looking at yourself.
Yes.
But I like how it's like a challenge, but it's also like this challenge of authenticity, right? It's
Yeah.
like this challenge of like, how can you become closer to the truth that is everything?
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Kali. She always challenges me in the best ways.
Yeah.
She challenges me to love myself, and she challenges me to grow, and she challenges me to see my worth, and she challenges me to destroy the shit that doesn't belong anymore. And so yeah, I thought she was a good oracle to bring to this conversation today.
Yeah. And and like what we're talking about with the black and the white's like such a villainized character. Like in so many things, like, oh, her tongue out and she's evil and she's like stepping on someone's head, and she was in, Kalima Indiana Jones, like
Right.
she evil people sacrifice people and animals, and I know there's all these things. So I really like that I mean, I know you have such a strong connection with her, but for tonight too, like having that energy brought into there to like even just as much as we were talking about how sometimes this is something that you just do and it's not that it's evil. So I'm really glad that you chose to work with her tonight too.
And I was thinking it really goes well with what you were saying to us today about, okay, well, this person bothered me, put them in the jar and chicken shit and they're gone. And it's like, you had to kill that. You had to cut that relationship that you had to this thing or this pattern that you had in order to have like a new life and a new thing for you, like a new pattern, a new way of thinking. So it's like, I think with Baneful Magick, a lot of it is about endings and death in order to have room for other things that are better for you. And like death is not always a bad thing, and it's not always like the end of a life. So yeah.
Your time with Kali too.
Yeah.
It reminds me of Kundalini too, because Kundalini and Kali go really well together in that work. And when you're doing Kundalini, you start from the root chakra so that you can go up and then make better decisions. And so it's like that grounding that needs to take place, that centering of where do I go from here? What do I really want? What is the new beginning I am seeking? What apple am I ready to bite into? And how does that impact other people and myself? Really interesting.
And in Kali's mythology, like she does the dirty work, right? Like she's the one, she and her sister goddesses are the ones that slay the demons. They're the ones that are out there doing the things that the gods are like, no, we can't dirty ourselves. We can't dirty our hands.
Yeah.
So I think she was really appropriate to bring, because sometimes this is dirty work, literally and spiritually, right? Like, sometimes it just needs to be done. Sometimes demons need to be slayed.
Sometimes you need to be
water.
I
like that she's in water.
Yeah. And the reflection.
Yeah.
So
like renewal, rebirth, like
and it's like looking inward, like going cave, healing.
And kind of like facing your emotions, right? Like,
Yeah, facing
Yeah.
emotions that are uncomfortable, the discomfort.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like sitting in your emotions, literally.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Right.
yeah.
Mm.
That was really good. Our cards, I swear.
They're always
Yay us. Yay us.
Right.
Yes.
They're always good.
Yeah.
I know sometimes I draw like this one. I actually drew it first and I was like, huh. And then I was like, okay. Like, I was almost expecting like more of the like, filthy one. You know what I'm saying?
Me
Like,
too, yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is the one we're bringing. But I think it was perfect.
Yeah.
Mm.
I liked that I pulled the dark moon because it kind of goes along with like black magic too, where it's like,
Mhm.
the opposite would be like full moon, but it's like the new moon is just as powerful and
Mhm.
it teaches us many things. Yeah, it's really cool to see how we've had like, because that also reminds me of the justice with the full moon and the new moon.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I just realized we did a cycle again. We did a story again with our cards.
Yes.
Like mine is the like having to make the choice.
Boy,
Mhm.
And then after it was Veronica, which was
the new moon.
and like understanding like it's okay to make the choice and whatever choice you make is okay because you always have another chance.
Mhm.
And then Nishida's card is justice, like whatever choice is made, you're going to get what is dealt.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then Maze, it's like bringing you with like
Okay.
having you sit in the emotions of the choice you made and
Mhm.
learning from that road. Like we all get dirty to learn more. And like, oh my gosh, it's so perfect. It's like the perfect story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
The lotus growing from the mud, the muck
Yep.
of it all.
Sometimes you make a choice without knowing the consequence or what the future will be. And then you're the lotus and you're growing and you see now clearly what's in front of you and you go from there.
Yeah, sometimes that stuff as you like it's like compost. You release it and the compost is dirty. That's some nasty ass shit. But then there's like this beautiful plant that grows like from it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And she had her third eye open where it was like awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing now. Wisdom.
Yeah.
From the fucking around and find out.
Yeah. My favorite school.
Yes.
Yes. We
The
all
church
have
of
to
fuck
be.
around and find
Right,
out.
it was like FAFO alumni.
Alumni, yeah.
That's right.
And my cat Mickey Mischief blessed us with his presence for a minute.
I know.
Oh, Mickey missed you.
So
So
he's
cute.
snoozing next to me right now, like on the table.
Aw.
I know. I was like, stop moving shit.
Oh, it was nice.
Oh,
Well, happy October.
happy October, everyone.
And this is going to be our first episode. We have another one coming out. We're going to be communing with the spirits and everything too. So more in October to come. So
More fun.
I know. More tea. Lots of
Yes. Always here. You
Yeah.
need tea. This is the place to come.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Everyone, bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.